Shalom, 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 shalom. All praise to the Most High. Let me see it real fast. Let me see it. Let me do a sound check. Let me go over here, make sure I can be heard. Let's see, make sure everything. I bet I can be heard. I can be heard. All praise to the Most High, man. All praise to the Most High. All praise to the Most High. All praise to the Most High. To the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Hallelujah. All praise to the Most High, man. And all praise to the Most High for being in this season right now. The season of Passover, the season of unleavened bread. And if we were in the kingdom, in the future kingdom, if we were in the land and everything set up, we would be keeping Passover and the Feast of Unleavened Bread as it is written in the Torah. All praise to the Most High, all praise to the Most High, man. All praise to the Most High. And shout out to everybody, man. All praise to the Most High. I know it's been a while since I've been live. I know it's been a while since I've been live, man. All praise to the Most High. But y'all know how it is, man. Sometimes, well, all the time, family, wife, Isha, the kids, Mishpachah, Yeladin, you know, that has to come first, man. Right, so I had to fall back a little bit, take a break from going live, take a step back, make sure I stayed present and alert in the household, right? All praise to the Most High, all praise to the Most High. But I definitely wanted to go live during this season, talk about it. Yeah, I know last year I was going crazy with the videos and the lives for Passover and unleavened bread, showing the lawlessness, the wickedness, the sinners claiming they're keeping Torah, but really don't know what the heck they're doing. They're in sin and leading people into sin. Right, so we're going to talk about that. Man. But shout out to the whole family, man. I miss y'all. Y'all know how it goes, man. If this is your home, if Torah After Dark is your home, if this live is your home, if I'm your brother, if I'm your family, if I'm your family in Torah. Yeah, I see. Hold on, let me see this. Let me see if I could. Let me see. Oh, hold up. Can I show it? Yeah, see what that say on the screen. Torah. People of the Torah. Because we are people of the Torah. Right? Because Torah is our way of life. Torah is our life, right? So all praise to the Most High for my family, my people in Torah, man. All praise to the Most High. Torah. Right, but I definitely wanted to go live and make a live and discuss this and react to some stuff because I've been seeing some stuff. And I'm going to continue to call out these bogus, sinful Passovers. Right? And I don't want to accuse people of things, but I'm going to just give my opinion. Because there's no way you can read Torah. There's no way you can read the Tanakh and not see that Passover cannot be kept outside of Jerusalem. No way. So my only conclusion can be is that they put in money over Torah because these people are getting money from their congregation for people that want to come and participate in this. They're charging money for it. And I'm not against making money, but when you're making money off of breaking Torah, come on. So we're going to talk about it. We're going to watch some videos. We're going to react to some videos. So this is going to be a pretty long stream. I'm going to let y'all know right now. This is going to be a pretty long stream. I haven't been live for a while, so it's going to be longer than an hour. It's probably going to be longer than 2 hours. So y'all can chill, join in, have some fun, leave, come back. But I have a lot to say. I have a lot to react to. because it's some interesting things that I've been seeing on this social media world of the Israelite community as far as this Passover. And as y'all know, I'm still on my fast. Right? I started my fast on the 3rd of Nisan. All right. Excuse me. Right, so I'm gonna show y'all real fast. I'm gonna see if y'all can see this. I started my fast on the 3rd. All right, this we gonna do. Where is that? Right, on the 3rd of Nisan. All right, I got my calendar right here. Let me see if y'all can see that. Got my calendar right there, right? So I started my fast on the 3rd of Nisan, which was March 21st. And for people that don't know, this is from Daniel chapter 10, the fast that Daniel did, where he fasted for 3 weeks through Passover and through unleavened bread. Right. So this is what I do. Right. Not saying everybody gotta do that. I'll use Daniel as an example. Why? Because Daniel is a man that lived in a time period similar to ours. There was no temple, no king, no priest. The land was destroyed. The children of Israel was in exile. So today, there's no king, no priest. The temple is destroyed, and the children of Israel are in exile. So if we don't know what to do, what's better than to look at a righteous man and do it as he did in Torah? Right. So that's why I do this. Right. So I started my fast on March 21st. That's the 3rd of Nisan. So from March 21st, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 to today, which is what? Saturday, the 4th. There's 14 days. So I've been fasting for 14 days, all praise to the Most High, and the fast is 21 days. Right, so all praise to the Most High for giving me the strength, allowing me to fast and do this, right? So if you want to know my fast, it's Daniel chapter 10. Right, all praise to the Most High. So I got my water. I'm not eating no meat, none of that, no meat, no wine. I'm not eating any bread, any nothing that's not vegetables, fruits, wheats, and beans. That's it. Right? No soda, no juice, no none of that. If it's not 100% juice, fruit juice, none of that. Right? So that's what I've been doing, right? So all praise to the Most High. And for the people that's doing the fast as well, because I've been talking about this for about 3-4 years now. For the people that's doing it this year, all praise to the Most High. Because what we not gonna do, we not gonna break the Torah. At least knowingly. Right, all praise to the Most High. All praise to the Most High. So let's get to it, right? Can the Torah be kept outside of the land, outside of Jerusalem? And that's absolutely no. Let's pull up some scripture before we get into this, right? We're gonna pull up some scripture. We're gonna pull up some scripture before we get to this, right? I want to share this. Right, so we're gonna go to the book of Deuteronomy. Don't worry, I'm about to put it on the screen. We're gonna go to the book of Deuteronomy. The book of Deuteronomy, chapter 16. Right, before we get into anything, we're gonna read some scriptures. Right, the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 16. Hold on, let me see what I got in my bag. I haven't been live in a minute, so I forgot. Azrael, Israel in the building. All praise to the Most High. Shalom, brother. Good to see you back. Take care of your family first, always. That's definitely all praise to the Most High. Good to see you as well, sister. All praise to the Most High. LaDonna's in the building. All praise to the Most High for LaDonna. All praises. LaDonna is in the building. Good to see you, LaDonna. I missed y'all, man. Shabbat shalom, brother. Shabbat shalom. All praise to the Most High. All praise to the Most High. Good to see y'all here, man. I missed y'all. I definitely missed y'all, man. All praises. There's been some changes. It's been some changes in my family, right? So, God willing, I'm a come and give y'all an update on the family and everything, right? But all good news, nothing bad. But just for the people that that's curious. But I'll be letting y'all know soon. All praise to the Most High. All praise to the Most High. Let's read Deuteronomy chapter 16, verse 1. Observe the month of Abib and keep the Passover to the Lord your God. For in the month of Abib, the Lord your God brought you out of Egypt by night. So for the people that may not know, Abib and Nisan is the same month, right? After Babylon, the month of Abib became known as Nisan, right? So it's the same month though. In the Torah, only about, if I'm remembering right, somebody fact check it and drop it in the chat. In the Torah, only about 3 months was given the name. Fact check me. It's either 3 or 2, maybe even 1. I'm not sure. Can't remember off the top of my head. But fact check me. Somebody could look it up real fast. Drop it in the chat. I'll put it on the screen. But only about 2 or 3 months was given the name. After Babylon, every month had a name, right? It was just a development. But with the calendar, they came out of Babylon with, right? So, but Abib, Nisan, the same month. Verse 2. And ye shall offer the Passover sacrifice to the Lord your God from the flock or the herd at the place that the Lord will choose to make his name dwell there. Right? So this text right off the back says, at the place the Most High chooses to place his name there. Now, if you didn't see my video, Capri is in the building. What up, Capri? Shalom, fam. We back. All praise to the Most High. Bicep flex. Good to see you. Good to see you here. All praise to the Most High. So if y'all haven't seen my presentation, my video on what the name of the ark is, what the name of the Lord is, which is the Ark of the Covenant, and the traveling of it and where it was placed. If you haven't seen my video on that, make sure y'all check that out. I'll be sure to reshare that on a page, right? But the Most High picked a specific place for his name, the ark, to dwell. And it tells you here that you shall sacrifice the Passover in that place. That's what it says. That place is not in America. That place is not in West Philadelphia, born and raised. That place is not in Kansas or none of these places. That place is Jerusalem. This is what this say. I'm not adding nothing to this. We're going to read what the text says. So the first, you shall not do that. You shall do it at the place where the Most High chose, right? Let's continue reading. You shall eat no leavened bread with it. 7 days you shall eat it with unleavened bread, the bread of affliction. For you came out of the land of Egypt in haste, that all the days of your life you may remember the day when you came out of the land of Egypt. So the reason why we keep Passover in Jerusalem is to remember what happened when we came out of Egypt. So it's a memorial. Keeping it in Jerusalem is a memorial. You have people say, oh, no, we're not really keeping it. We're keeping it as a memorial. No, it's kept in Jerusalem as a memorial. You can only keep it in Jerusalem as a memorial. That's the whole reason it's kept in Jerusalem as a memorial for what happened in Egypt. Verse 4, no leaven shall be seen with you in all of your territory for 7 days, nor shall any of the flesh that you sacrifice on the evening of the first day remain all night until the morning. You may not offer. Let's just slow this down for the people that may not be aware. This part right here is very important. You may not offer the Passover sacrifice within any of your towns that the Lord your God is giving you. So he gives you all these towns in the land of Canaan. All those towns, whether it's north, south, west, east, all over, he give you, that's where you live at, in those towns. He says you may not do that there. Verse 6, but at the place the Lord your God will choose to make his name in it, There shall you offer the Passover sacrifice in the evening at sunset, at the time you came out of Egypt. So the Passover lamb is supposed to be sacrificed in Jerusalem, not in none of your towns that he gave you, only in Jerusalem. That's what it says. Did I make that up? No, that's what the text say. And people be like, oh, we're not sacrificing it, we're slaughtering it. Bozo. The word for sacrifice and the word for slaughter is the same word in Hebrew, zabach. The same word. There's no difference. A slaughtering is a sacrifice. There you shall offer the Passover sacrifice in the evening at sunset, at the time you came out of Egypt, and you shall cook it and eat it at the place the Lord your God shall choose. So not only does it have to be sacrificed in Jerusalem, it has to be cooked and eaten in Jerusalem. You cannot eat no lamb or cook no lamb in America. What are you doing? The lamb, the Passover lamb, is an holy thing. It's a holy thing. The holy things are required to be taken to Jerusalem, so the blood can go on the altar. It's cooked and eaten in Jerusalem. Let's read that one more time for the people who think, oh, we're all making stuff up. Let's read this one more time. You shall cook it and eat it. Where? At the place that the Lord your God will choose. And in the morning you shall turn and go out to your tents. So are you able to take the Passover lamb home? No. Why? Because the Passover lamb is not even supposed to be there in the morning. Remember? Let's go back up. No, you can take it from Jerusalem. It's not only supposed to be eaten in Jerusalem. What? Let's go back up. Let's go back up. Where is it? Where is it at? Verse 4. No leaven shall be seen with you in all of your territory for 7 days, nor shall any of the flesh that you sacrifice on the evening of the first day remain all night until morning. So you're not taking no Passover lamb from Jerusalem. Not even supposed to be there in the morning. It's supposed to be done, eaten, or completely burned up before the morning comes. No lamb is to be taken from Jerusalem and eaten anywhere else. So if you can't slaughter it, sacrifice it outside of Jerusalem, you can't cook it outside of Jerusalem, you can't eat it outside of Jerusalem, how are all these Israelites sacrificing lamb, eating it, and cooking it in America? Explain that to me. We just read that in the Bible verbatim. If you cannot sacrifice the Passover lamb outside of Jerusalem, you cannot cook it outside of Jerusalem, you cannot eat it outside of Jerusalem, how are all these Israelites eating lamb, slaughtering lambs, keeping the Passover in America when the Torah tells us not to? That makes no sense to me. How are we reading the same text? We just read that verbatim. I didn't add anything to that. I didn't remix that. It says it verbatim. What does it say? The Passover is to be kept in the first month of Abib. It's supposed to be sacrificed in Jerusalem. You're supposed to eat it and cook it in Jerusalem. It's not supposed to last until the morning. And then in the morning, you leave and you can go back home. So how is lamb being taken from Jerusalem? I ain't make that up. Sometimes I just want to repeat myself over and over because people are read it over and over because people will say, Gadol, you making that up, you adding that. I just read that verbatim. You shall keep it, you shall sacrifice it in Jerusalem. Oh, I'm not even going to say Jerusalem. You shall sacrifice it in the place the Most High shall choose. You shall not sacrifice it in any of the homes, only at the place the Most High shall choose. That's 2 points verbatim. You have to cook it and eat it in the place the Most High shall choose. And you can't leave none of it till morning. And in the morning you leave. So they're not taking leftover plates of Passover home. No, why? Because the Passover lamb is supposed to be cooked, killed, and eaten in Jerusalem. So if the Torah says that, how do we have things like this happening? Hold up, let's get to this real fast. If the Torah says that, how do we have things like this happening? If the Torah says that, how do we have things like this happen? Hold up. Facts, Israelites are out here eating lamb briskets all in sin. It is ridiculous. The Torah tells us verbatim, you have to cook it, slaughter it, and eat it in Jerusalem. It can't be left till morning. In the morning you leave. You're not leaving with no lamb. Facts, all praise to the Most High. That's a Torah fact. Shalom, mishpacha. Shalom, shalom, shalom to you. Candace in the building, all praise to the Most High for Candace. Shalom, shalom, placed in a garden. Talk to him. That's a Torah fact. So if we just read that, right? I'm gonna repeat it one more time because I might get a shirt. Y'all know I'll be designing all these shirts, right? I might get a shirt that say it. If Deuteronomy 16 says what? You can't eat it. You have to sacrifice the Passover lamb in Jerusalem. You have to make sure you don't sacrifice it in none of your towns, only at the place the Most High shall choose. It can't be left till morning, and you have to eat it and cook it in the place the Most High shall choose. If the Torah says that, how come we have this? How come we have this?
Sure.
Lamb slaughter. That's what he put. He put lamb slaughter. If the Torah says that, how come we have this? These are Israelites. If the Torah says again, this is their Passover lamb. If the Torah says the Passover lamb is supposed to be slaughtered, sacrificed in Jerusalem and nowhere else, why do we have a bunch of Israelites doing this in America? I think this is America. This is crazy. Let's read this comment. I think you need to start at Shemot, Exodus chapter 12. We are commanded to because the events of Pesach, Passover, throughout our generations, no matter where we are. No, we don't. That's not what Exodus 12 says. All right, so let's do this, right? We're gonna come back to this video. We're gonna come back to this video. Let's do this. Let's talk about this comment. Because a lot of Israelites do this. They conflate Exodus 12 and Deuteronomy 16. Now, if you have this understanding of Exodus 12, that means Exodus 12 and Deuteronomy 16 is a contradiction. Why? Because Deuteronomy 16, what we just read, says you can only do it in the place the Most High chose. You can't do it nowhere else. If you're saying Exodus 12 says we can do it anywhere, it's a contradiction. Now, Exodus 12 is not a prescription to keep Passover anywhere. Exodus 12 is not even the recipe how to keep Passover. Exodus 12 is the recipe for the Israelites at that time period, how they were going to keep Passover in the wilderness. That's what Exodus 12 is. Exodus 12 is what I like to call the live action right? It's not, they weren't keeping Passover in Exodus 12. They was going through it in Exodus 12 is why Passover is kept, right? They were told what? To eat it in haste. Why? Because they were leaving that night and the destroyer was coming through to unalive the firstborns. They were told to put blood on their doorposts. Why? Because the blood on the doorposts was to protect them from the destroyer. This is why you don't see blood on the doorpost being told in Deuteronomy 16. Because Deuteronomy 16 isn't, a destroyer isn't coming to unalive babies. So that's how you know Exodus 12 is not how to keep Passover today or in the land. Right? So they were told to keep Passover because of that situation. Now let's talk about a couple more things. Exodus 12, they couldn't leave their house. Remember, they couldn't leave their house. They had to keep Passover home. As Deuteronomy 16, you're not supposed to do it at home. You're supposed to go to Jerusalem. See the differences? Exodus 12, eat it in haste, at home. Don't go out. Deuteronomy 16, don't keep it home. Go to Jerusalem. It's not the same. Deuteronomy is the prescription that Moshe gave of how they were going to keep Passover when they got into the land. Exodus 12 is the live action Passover and them keeping Passover in the wilderness when the name of the Most High was the ark and it was it was leading them through the wilderness. So they kept it everywhere the ark traveled. In the land, the ark was placed in one specific place where you had to go. There's a difference between Deuteronomy 16 and Exodus 12. There's not the same. They're not contradictory. One is the live action Passover. Deuteronomy 16 is how they kept Passover when they went into the land. Two different things. You're not supposed to put blood on your doorpost in America. Come on, we gotta understand. We have to understand. Deuteronomy 16, chapter verses 5 through 6. Yep, I just read that. It's a fact. Shalom, 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 shalom. We can cause Pesach to be memorized without sacrificing. No, if you're not sacrificing the Passover, you're not keeping Passover. The lamb, the Passover, the lamb is the Passover. You're not keeping it. And the way it's memorialized is by sacrificing the lamb in Jerusalem. Y'all gotta stop making up your own rules. Please, come on. Gotta stop making up our own rules. The Torah says with the Torah. Some of us choose to reenact the events of minus the actual sacrifice. If you want to say you reacting the events, if you want to say you doing whatever, you're not keeping Passover. That's it. It's not it. Because if you keep Passover, to keep Passover, you have to sacrifice a lamb. Because the lamb is the Passover. You sacrifice the Passover. Let's go back and read that real fast. Let's go back and read. I'm gonna get back to that video. Let's put this up here. You shall offer the Passover sacrifice. Wrong one. You shall offer the Passover sacrifice. If you're not offering or slaughtering the Passover, you're not keeping Passover. You're not. So I don't know what we talking about. You're not keeping Passover. Is it a sin to eat at all during Passover? Look what this says. Look what this says. Where is that? I want to look what this says. Is it a sin? Look what God says. You shall cook it and eat it at the place the Lord your God will choose. So the Torah says you shall cook it and eat it at the place your God shall choose. And people are doing something other than that. They're cooking it and eating it anywhere else. I would call that a sin. The Passover lamb is not even supposed to leave Jerusalem. The Passover lamb is slaughtered in Jerusalem, and then none makes it to the morning. None makes it to the morning. It has to be done by the morning, and then the people leaving. They're not leaving with lamb. So if we're eating lamb in America, the Passover lamb in America, that's double sin. You slaughtered a lamb, a holy thing of the Lord, in America, outside of the holy place. That's a sin. And then you're cooking and eating it outside of Jerusalem. That's a double sin. That's what the Torah says. That's just what the Torah says. Exodus 12 commands the event to be remembered. Yes, is remembered how? Right here in Deuteronomy 16. Right here. Observe the month of Abib to keep the Passover to your God in the month of Abib. In the month of Abib, the Lord your God brought you out of Egypt by night. That's how it's memorialized, by keeping it in the month of Abib, in the place the Most High shall choose. You can't pick and choose how you can't make up how you memorialize the Passover. The Torah tells us how to memorialize the Passover. Once every year, you go to Jerusalem, slaughter and eat Passover, slaughter and eat lamb. That's how it's memorialized. Jeremiah 7:22 tells you something about the Passover sacrifice. Go ahead, put it in the chat because I want to get back to this video. Shalom and happy Sabbath. Shalom. All praise to the Most High. All praise to the Most High. Shabbat shalom. Let's get back to this. Look, this is what we're doing. The Torah tells us to slaughter the Passover in Jerusalem. And then it makes sure it tells us not to do it anywhere else, only in Jerusalem. But look, we have Israelites doing.
All the way.
Look what we have Israelites doing. And let me remind you, the lamb is a holy thing of the Lord. The lamb is a holy thing of the Lord. Y'all know I'm gonna read some Bible. Y'all know I'm gonna read some Torah. Y'all know I'm gonna read some Torah. Look what the Torah says about the holy things. Look what the Torah says about the holy things. Look at this. Look what the Torah says about the holy things. Let's read what the Torah says about the holy things. Deuteronomy chapter 12, verse 26. But the holy things that are due from you, put a 1 in the chat if the Passover lamb is a holy thing unto the Most High. Put a 1 in the chat if the Passover lamb is a holy thing unto the Most High. Put a 1 in the chat if the holy thing if the Passover lamb is a holy thing unto the Most High. While I read this, Deuteronomy chapter 12, verse 26. But the holy things that are due from you, your vow offerings, you shall take, and you shall go to the place which the Lord will choose, and offer your burnt offerings, the flesh and the blood on the altar of the Lord your God. The blood of your sacrifices shall be poured out on the altar of the Lord your God, but the flesh you may eat. So the holy things of the Lord, which the Passover lamb is a holy thing unto the Lord. So that Passover lamb, if it fits the requirement for the Passover lamb, unblemished, under 1 year old, or under 1 year old, that's a holy thing. You're supposed to set those aside for the Most High. That thing needs to go to the place the Most High choose to be offered, and the blood is to be poured on the altar. Then you eat it where? In the place of the Most High choose. That's what Deuteronomy 16 says about the Passover lamb. So how are these people in America taking a Passover lamb and doing this in America? They are profaning a holy thing. How are we doing this? They are literally profaning a holy thing.
And bring that knife as close to the jawbone. No, don't do it.
And look at a verse. Look at a verse they put. Exodus 12:3. Speak unto all the congregation of Israel, saying, in the 10th day of this month, they shall take of them every man a lamb according to the house of their fathers, a lamb for a house. That's the verse. And if the household be too little for a lamb, let him and his neighbor next to him, his house, take it according to the number of the souls. Every man according to his eatings shall make account for the lamb. So this is, without a shadow of a doubt, they're telling you this is the Passover lamb that they're doing this to. Your lamb shall be without blemish, a male of the first year. You shall take it from the sheep or from the goats, and you shall keep it until the 14th day of the same month. The whole assembly of the congregation of Israel shall kill it in the evening. So they're letting you know that they are offering a Passover lamb sacrifice in America. That's what they're doing. That's what they're letting it be known. That's what they're doing. Boldly in sin. Boldly in sin. And these are the people y'all learn from. Israelites. All right, let's remind you. They stopped at verse 6. They stopped at verse 6. Let's go to Exodus 12 and continue reading. They shall take some of the blood and put it on the two doorposts in the lintel of the house in which they may eat. So they said, take the blood of this lamb. Why is this blood for this lamb put on the doorpost? Because the destroyer is coming through. But let's continue reading. They shall eat the flesh that night, roasted on the fire with unleavened bread and bitter herbs. They shall eat it. Do not eat any of it raw or boiled in water, but roast it, its head with its legs and its inner part. You shall let none of it remain until the morning. Anything that remains until morning you shall burn. In this manner you shall eat it, with your belt fastened, your sandals on your feet, and your staff in your hand, and you shall eat it in haste. It is the Lord's Passover. So they have to put blood on their doorposts, right? Exodus 12. They have to eat it in haste with their belts and with their belts fastened, and their shoes, sandals on their feet, and their staff in their hand. Why is that? Let's continue reading. Verse 12. For I will pass through the land of Egypt that night, and I will strike all the firstborn in the land of Egypt. This is why they had to eat it in haste, with their belts fastened and with their sandals on, because the live action Passover was happening. He was coming through with judgment. In Jerusalem, when you do it as a memorialization, there's no destroyer coming through. There's no need to eat it in haste with shoes on, with your belt fastened. There's no need to put blood on your doorposts. That's why Deuteronomy 16 doesn't say anything about blood on the doorposts, about your shoes on your feet, about your belt fastened, about your staff in your hand. Deuteronomy 16 doesn't say anything about that. Why? Because there's no destroyer coming that night to unalive the firstborn of the Egyptians. Right? Let's continue reading. On all the Egyptians, on all the gods of Egypt, I will execute judgment. I am the Lord. The blood shall be a sign for you on the houses where you are. When I see the blood, I will pass over you. That's what the blood was for. So why do we have Israelites putting blood on their doorposts? There's no destroyer coming to kill firstborn. There's no destroyer. Verse 14. So this day shall be a memorial. This day shall be for you a memorial, and you shall keep it as a feast to the Lord throughout your generations. As a statute forever, you shall keep it as a feast. So everything we just read from 13 and up, we keep that as a memorial. And how do we keep it as a memorial? Let's read it. You shall keep it as a memorial. 7 days you shall eat unleavened bread. On the first day you shall remove all leaven from your houses. For if anyone eats that what is leavened from the first day even to the seventh, that person shall be cut off from Israel. On the first day you shall hold a holy assembly. On the seventh day a holy assembly. No work shall be done on those days, but everyone needs to eat, and that alone may be prepared for you. So we just saw how to do it. How it's memorialized. Does it mention anything there about blood on the doorpost? Do we mention anything there about eating in haste? No. Deuteronomy 16 tells you how to keep it. Exodus 12 is just what? That's a Torah fact. Exodus 12 is just the live action Passover. You're not supposed to keep it as is said in Exodus 12. You're supposed to keep it as is said in Deuteronomy 16. All right, but let's go back to this video, man. Look, the wickedness, man.
That's it. Okay. Let me get ready. Get this.
Wickedness.
Like that.
Come on, pull it all the way through. Pull it up.
This is what they're doing.
More. Pull his head up, slice it more.
They're sacrificing a lamb.
Like a smile pass. There you go. There you go. There you go. Good.
They doing these are the people y'all learn from.
Good work. Good work.
Good work. That's bad work.
You should be gone.
And then look. They just washing the blood off. The Passover lamb is a holy thing. The blood's supposed to go in the altar. And they just washing it off. This is ridiculous. This is absolutely ridiculous. This is ridiculous.
The heart want to hit him some more. Oh yeah, he ain't gone.
Look, and it's brutal. The thing about this, right? The way they're doing this thing, this lamb is suffering. Right? This is like pissing me off. The lamb is suffering. It wasn't even a clean cut. The lamb is kicking. They talking about he's fighting. This is wickedness, man. This is brutality. If you go, if you go unalive the Passover lamb, it's supposed to be a cut with, supposed to be dead with it's quick and easy. This is brutality. They literally, this is brutal, bro. The lamb is still alive, kicking, bleeding out. That's not how you handle a Passover lamb. This is the issue. Even the Jewish people that they hate so much. No, that's not how you do a lamb, a sacrifice, a slaughtering. Muslims know how to slaughter animals better than these people. This is brutal. Yeah, I hear him in the back. Oh, he's fighting. He hit him some more. This is brutal. This is how you treat animals. This is how you treat the Passover lamb. A brutal slaughter. Kicking. Come on, man. They wicked, bro.
Hey, y'all.
And they're just rinsing the blood off. Man, this is brutal, man. I can't. It's brutal, man. This is what these dudes is doing. Oh my bad. I didn't even put it back up there. My bad. I didn't even put it back up there. My bad. But I'm pissed off right now. My bad. I'm sorry. My bad, but I don't even want to rewatch that right there, man. But my bad. I was kind of pissed off. But this is brutal, man. That is brutal, man. That is brutal. I'll put the link in the chat, man. If y'all wanna, this is brutal, man. I hope that's not what I meant to do. Absolutely brutal, man. I'm gonna put the link in the chat to the video. This is absolutely brutal, bro. Ridiculous, man. But this is what they doing, bro. Again, Exodus 12, because, and again, I like to think, right? I'll try to get the benefit of the doubt. Maybe they just simply don't know. They're confused. They're in error. Maybe it's not purposely done. So let's say this again. Exodus 12 is not how Passover is kept after they got to the land. Moses stood, Deuteronomy chapter 1, the 40th year. The 40th year, he stood before the people before they went into the land, gave them the law, and told them, this is how you go live in the land. This is what you do. He told them, Passover, the Most High is going to pick a place in the land, the place his name to dwell, and you're going to go there, and it has to be kept there, it has to be sacrificed there, it has to be cooked there, it has to be eaten there, and you can't do it anywhere else. That's what Moshe told him. At Deuteronomy, you have to leave your house on Passover to go to Jerusalem. Not on Passover, well, before Passover to get to Jerusalem. So you would be in Jerusalem on Passover. Exodus 12, the Passover, you could not leave your house. Two different things. Exodus 12, you can't leave your house. Deuteronomy 16, you need to be in Jerusalem. You can't be home. Exodus 12, you have to eat it at home. Deuteronomy 16, it can't be eaten at home. It has to be eaten in Jerusalem. Exodus 12 mentions blood on the doorpost, eating it in haste, belt fasting, staff in your hand. Deuteronomy 12 mentions none of that. Deuteronomy 16 mentions none of that. Why? Because Exodus 12, it was going down. They had to eat it and be out because the death angel was coming. Deuteronomy 16, there's no death angel. No people, nobody's dying. It's a memorial. You cannot keep Passover according to Exodus 12. Deuteronomy 12 says the Passover is a holy thing. It has to be taken to the place the Most High chose so the blood could be poured on the altar. These bozos are slaughtering a Passover lamb in America, rinsing the blood off of water. A holy thing. That is sin. It's an abomination. And they got people following them and learning from them. This pisses me off, man. All right, but I have a video I want to react to real fast. Well, not real fast, but I told you this is going to be a long one. I told y'all. So I'm going to be here for a couple hours talking and going over this stuff. So it's ridiculous. Right? But it's a video I want to watch. All right, let's see. We're going to go to this video real fast. Where is it? I remember last year, right? If y'all saw my Passover video from last year, Ahrayahla, he slaughtered a Passover. He slaughtered a lamb, right? Ahrayahla, that used to be in it's because they don't read Torah or meditate on it. That is a fact. That is a fact. What they are doing in that video, now that is out of order. 1 second, hold on. Hello? We said what? No, I'm good. All right. Yeah, I'm on live. All right, bro. Right, so the Passover, what I was at? Oh, I was reading this, right? What they're doing in that video, now that is out of order. Very out of order. Very out of order. This is why I gather in my house away from sin. That is a fact, man. If y'all ain't part of these camps, y'all need to leave it, man, because they got y'all in sin, right? But last year, I did a video about Ahrayahla, and I put him on the screen just like I did these videos of him slaughtering the lamb, putting the blood on the doorpost. He actually did it according to Exodus 12, which you're not supposed to, but that's what he did, right? So I made a video about that. If y'all ain't checked it out, make sure you go check that out. Now this year, this I haven't watched it yet, but this has to be a response to my video, because my video was, let me see if I can pull it up real fast. My video was called "Keeping Passover in America is a Sin." All right, let me see. Again, y'all, this is gonna be a long live, so I'm here for a while. They're gonna have to leave me alone tonight. All right. My video last year was called "Keeping Passover in America is a Sin." All right. So I'm gonna see if I can find it real fast so y'all can see it. Because I think, again, I haven't watched his video, but I think it's a response because it has the same title. All right. Let me see if I can find that video. Let me see if I can find it. All right, this was my video, right? This is my video right here. I ain't gonna play it, but this is my video, right? And I have Ahrayahla right here. Y'all see him? It's called "Keeping Passover Outside the Land is a Sin." That's Ahrayahla, and that's him putting blood on his doorpost, right? So if y'all haven't watched that video, check it out. Now, this is his video that he just put out. Is it a sin to keep Passover in America? Right? So, I'm pretty sure this is a response to my video, but we are going to see. And I just want to watch it. All right, we're going to do a reaction. Let me see. All right, there we go. We're going to do a reaction to this, man. And before I start that, right? Why the blood on the doorpost? These cats are very crazy. he keep putting blood on the doorpost like it's a death angel coming to kill firstborn Egyptians, man. This is crazy. And you can't tell them nothing. That is a fact. The camps are Christians, period. They should do the cracker and wine. That is a fact. Oh my goodness. All praise to the Most High. All praise to the Most High. Who got the Joshua Passover verse? Joshua Passover verse is in what's that? Joshua chapter 5? No, 7, I think. Hold on, let me double check. No, maybe it's 3. Chapter 3. Is it? Yeah, I'll read it. I don't know if this is the verse you're looking for, but Joshua chapter 3, verse 14. So when the people set out from their tents to pass over Jordan, no, this is it. Is this it? No, this is not it. Where's that where they kept Passover at? In the book of Joshua, is it? Somebody put. I know isn't in one of the early books of Joshua. Joshua 5 and 10. All right. All right. It says, while the people were encamped at Gilgal, they kept the Passover on the 14th day of the month in the evening of the plains of Jericho. And the day after the Passover, on that very day, they ate of the produce of the land, unleavened cakes and parched grain. And the manna ceased that day after they ate the produce of the land. And there was no longer manna for the people of Israel, but they ate the fruit of the land they ate the fruit of the land of Canaan that year. That's the verse in Joshua. And for the people that haven't seen my Ark of the Covenant video, you need to watch it, because the reason they were able to keep Passover in Gilgal is because they had the Ark of the Covenant. The Most High didn't place the name there yet, right? But when we go to Joshua chapter, what's that? Was it 22? No, 23, where he builds the tabernacle. Let's see. It's not 20. Hold on. Is it 18? Yeah, right here. Then the whole congregation of the people of Israel assembled at Shiloh and set up the tent of meeting there, and the land they subdued before them. So Joshua 18, this is when Joshua set up the tabernacle in Shiloh, and it stayed there for about 400 and something years. So every year, remember, they tell you they had a yearly feast in Shiloh. Every year, everybody would go to Shiloh because that was the first place the Most High chose. after Shiloh and went to Jerusalem, and then it stayed in Jerusalem. So everybody went to Jerusalem. All right, so that's why they were able to do it. The ark traveled with them and throughout the wilderness for 40 years. When they crossed over, it rested in Gilgal. They kept Passover there, and then at Joshua 18, they set up the tent of meeting. The tent of meeting there, and it stayed there for about 400 years. So everybody would go to Shiloh, and then once it got in Jerusalem, everybody went to Jerusalem there. So that's why they were able to keep it in Gilgal than Shiloh. All right, but let's get back to this. Let's get back to this video real fast, right? Let's get back to this video because I want to watch this, man. I want to watch this. All right,
shalom, family. First and foremost, we give all praises, all glory, and all honor to the Most High God, whose name is Yahweh. Of course, I do so in the name of His only begotten Son, the Mashiach Yahweh Shah, who the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ, with your brother Shah Ahrayahla. And you guys see the title, right? Should we be keeping Passover here in America? Right, we'll be diving into Deuteronomy 16.
Let me hold before. Let's read this. The mind state is they were born in America, not Jerusalem. So being home allows them to do sacrifice in America. Yeah, that's bogus. That's bogus right there. That's sin. The Hebrew word keep is shamar, guard, protect, cherish. The way I understand this memorial commandment, keeping it can be done without sacrifice the land. I mean, again, that's your understanding, but it's not Torah. It's not Torah. That's what you want to go. All right, that's how you understand it, but it's not Torah. Passover is not Passover if there's no sacrifice. If there's no lamb, it's not Passover. It's not. That's when Benjamin's inheritance officially denied. Thanks for answering my question. I'll check out your video on the ark. All praises, all praises. Let's get into it. So again, I know I'll be repeating myself, but I made a video about him, about his sinful Passover last year. We put him on the screen, him putting blood on the doorpost. So I want to hear what he has to say about it.
Also go into the House of Bread feast day calendar, and we might do a little Q&A, right? Before we dive into the topic, this should be a shorter live because it's not too much that we'll be covering today. But make sure you guys are liking the video, sharing the video. If it's on your heart, you can super chat as well. All right. So before we dive in really quickly, let me go ahead here and just get a couple of plugs out.
Imagine being able to build an app with your name on it just by thinking about it.
I'm gonna try to get to the part. I haven't watched this yet, so
Passover, the green olive tree, Romans 11. But when it's an R, a reverse R without the little tail, and then so when it comes to this walk and being in the truth, you got to be rooted, right? You got to be rooted in the Word of God. If you're not rooted in the Word of God, then it's very easy for you to get.
I'm gonna try to skip all this preaching. I want to get to the part,
right? Being a Hebrew Israelite is not a fad. It's not a trend, right?
I want to get to the. We got to get to the man. We got to get to the
right. They're going to be here only at the House of Bread. Actually, go ahead.
I'm trying. I ain't watched this before, so I just want to get to the part, man.
So Deuteronomy 16:1. It says, "Observe the month of Abib and keep the Passover unto the Lord thy God. For in the month of Abib, the Lord thy God brought thee forth out of Egypt by night. Thou shalt therefore sacrifice the Passover unto the Lord thy God of the flock and the herd, in the place which the Lord shall choose to place His name there." Right. So what we got to understand when it comes to the book of Deuteronomy, right? These passages, these commandments, right? Some of Deuteronomy is a reiteration of previous commandments. Some of Deuteronomy is not reiterations of previous commandments, right? I'll give you an example. Deuteronomy 17, right, where it tells a king not to multiply wives and horses and chariots unto himself. That's not a repeated law, right? Deuteronomy 22:12, which says, "Thou shalt make the dolium on the four corners of thy vesture, tassels," right? That's not a reiteration of Numbers 15:38. Numbers 15:38 is a completely different word. Numbers 15:38 mentions the ribbon of blue. Deuteronomy 22:12 does not mention the ribbon of blue, right? So Deuteronomy, right?
Did the sound just go out, or is that me?
There are repeated laws, and there are some things that are clarifying on previous laws, right? But then there's also laws here that are just new laws, right? Also, in mind, Deuteronomy it starts to be given as we're getting closer to entering the land, right? And with that in mind, we have to look at this context. I'll give you an example, right? Let's go to Deuteronomy chapter 7. So it says, Deuteronomy 7:1. When the Lord thy God,
I don't want to make no assumptions on what he's about to do, but if he's about to try to do what I think he's about to do, wow.
shall bring thee into the land, whither thou goest to possess it. So we're getting ready to enter into the land, right? The Most High God gives us this command. It says, and it has cast out many nations before thee, the Hittites, the Girgashites, the Amorites, and the Canaanites, and the Perizzites, and the Hivites, and the Jebusites, 7 nations greater and mightier than thou. And when the Lord thy God shall deliver them before thee, thou shalt smite them and utterly destroy them. Thou shalt make no covenant with them, nor show mercy unto them. Right? So the phraseology, the Lord's going to bring thee into the land. We're getting ready to enter into the land. So this is an example of what I'm speaking of.
Right? Just went to Deuteronomy 1 to prove
let's
that.
Continue. Deuteronomy chapter 16 and verse 3. It says, thou shalt eat no leavened bread with it. 7 days shalt thou eat unleavened bread therewith.
So for the record,
even the bread
I want to say this, right?
Affliction.
He already read the part where it says, he already read the part that says, you shall do this in the place the Most High shall choose. He just read that, but he ain't say nothing about that. He skimmed right over it. Then he started talking about the book of Deuteronomy, about how some things are a reiteration of other laws and how some stuff is new. So I just want to point that he didn't say nothing about when it says you got to keep it in the place the Most High choose.
For thou camest forth out of the land of Egypt in haste, that thou mayest remember the day when thou comest forth out of the land of Egypt all the days of thy life, right? So let's unpack this really quickly, right? 3,000 plus years ago, when the children of Israel were in the land of Egypt, right? When you make bread, right, you take flour, you take water, right? In order for that bread to rise, you would have to give it time to do so, right? You would mix flour and water, right? And the natural yeast in the environment and on the grain will start to eat away at the sugars and the carbohydrates within the grain, right? It'll, of course, go through the metabolic process.
Read that one more time. Read that one more time, because I don't know if I agree with that. I understand we can slaughter a lamb or a goat, and I disagree with that. You cannot slaughter a lamb. A lamb is a holy thing. A lamb is only to be slaughtered when it has to do with a sacrifice, because a lamb is a holy thing. So I disagree with that. A lamb is a specific type of animal. And that specific type of animal, matter of fact, yes, that specific type of animal can only be slaughtered in Jerusalem. That's it. There's other animals that can be slaughtered. Like, let me tell you, right, in Deuteronomy 12, it says if you get hungry and you want meat, you can take an animal and slaughter it and kill it and eat it. All you gotta do is pour the blood out. But the holy things, what's the holy things? The things that are used for sacrifice, the things that are used for vows, that has to be done in Jerusalem. So any type of animal that fits the requirements of sacrifice that the Lord asks for, those are holy things. Those can't be done. All the things that are not holy things, all the animals that are not holy things can be slaughtered anywhere. So I disagree with that when you said a lamb. A lamb, no, cannot be slaughtered in your gates.
It'll create bubbles, air bubbles, right? And that's how things were leavened, right? It's called today's known as a sourdough starter. Okay. So when we're looking at why we keep the Feast of Unleavened Bread, it's because we had to leave Egypt in haste. We didn't have time for the bread to rise, right? So with that said, let's continue. It says, and there shall be no leavened bread seen with thee in all thy coasts.
Well, technically, yes and no, what he just said, because the reason you had to leave Egypt in haste was because the Most High was coming to destroy, and he was getting you up out of here. And it wasn't no time for the bread to rise. So he kind of said it backwards, but I'm not going to give him a hard time for that.
7 days, right? So let's take a look at this, right? In all thy coasts, right? Gabalka, right? So coast, borders, your coast, where you're bound, your landmark, space, limit, right? Your territory. So during the Feast of Unleavened Bread, right, you're not supposed to have any leavened bread. Anything that is leavened, right, or any leavening, you have to get rid of. Now, for years, I didn't understand the Torah in that way, right? I didn't understand this, and I didn't understand, for instance, Exodus chapter 13 and verse 7, which says there should be no leaven found within thy borders, right? Within thy gates. So what I used to do is I would take, let's say, my baking soda, my baking powder, right, and my baker's yeast and whatnot, and I would put it in my trunk of my car, or I'll put it in my shed. You don't want to do that. Don't do that. Right, that's incorrect. According to the law, right, you are not to have any leavened bread within thy borders, within your land. Okay. So it says, there shall no leavened bread with thee. Thou shalt eat no leavened bread with it. 7 days shalt thou eat unleavened bread therewith, even the bread of affliction, for thou camest forth out of the land of Egypt. In haste thou mayest remember the day when thou camest forth out of the land of Egypt all the days of thy life. And there shall be no leavened bread seen with thee. Shouldn't be seen with you. Shouldn't be any.
Shout out to Lanier. All praise to the Most High for Lanier. He just gifted 3. Excuse me. Oh, no. It says a member for 3 months. All praise to the Most High. Lanier, a member for 3 months. Almost time for the Most High remnant to exit. All praise to the Most High. All praise to the Most High. Flame Red, Godard's back in the house. All praises. All praises. All praises. So I'm trying to see where he's going with this. Right, he's talking about the borders.
We're around.
He's talking about the borders, not to have the leaven in the borders. Right, we know this is talking about the land that the Most High is giving us, the land of Canaan. Right, so not supposed to be no leaven found in your homes, towns, all that. I'm trying to get at where he's getting at first, so I'm trying to be patient.
Right, in all thy coast 7 days, neither shall there anything of the flesh which thou sacrifice the first day at even remain all night until the morning. Right. So when it comes to the Passover, when you sacrifice the Passover, that lamb is not supposed to, you're not supposed to save it to the morning. You have to burn it before the morning. Right. Now, verse 5, brothers, read this, not understanding the context of when Deuteronomy was given, right? As we're getting ready to enter into the land. Right. It says, thou mayest not sacrifice the Passover within any of thy gates, which the Lord thy God giveth thee. Excuse me. We're gonna unpack this verse.
I don't know why he looked very nervous or confused, or I don't know. He looks real. Something is like on his spirit. I can see it. He looks very nervous going through this. But I'm curious to see how he explains that thou mayest not sacrifice the Passover within any of thy gates. I'm curious to see this.
Because verse 5 is very important, right? We're going to read through verse 8 and we're going to come back to verse 5. It says, but at the place which the Lord thy God shall choose to place his name, there thou shalt sacrifice the Passover at even, at the going down of the sun, at the season that thou camest forth out of Egypt. Thou shalt roast it and eat it in the place which the Lord thy God shall choose. And thou shalt turn in the morning and go unto thy tents. 6 days shalt thou eat unleavened bread, and on the 7th day shall be a solemn assembly to the Lord thy God. Thou shalt do no work therein. Right. So let's go back to verse 5. It says, thou mayest not sacrifice the Passover within any of thy gates, which the Lord thy God giveth thee. Question, family. What are the gates that the Lord thy God giveth us in the context of Deuteronomy 16:5? What are those gates?
In the land, Canaan, place you live, homes, towns, cities, anywhere the Most High gave you. Next.
What are these gates?
I just answered it. I was like, no, joke.
Anyone?
Yes. Your homes, where you live, your towns,
What are these
your
gates?
cities that the Most High gave you.
Says, thou mayest not sacrifice the Passover within any of thy gates.
Man, get to it, man.
We were getting ready to enter into the land of Canaan, right? We were supposed to go in and take the land from them, done them off, right? Get rid of them. And we were supposed to keep the commandments.
Shout out to everybody that's here watching this with me.
And remain in the land, right? That's what we were supposed to do, right? So the context of this, again, is within any of the gates which the Lord thy God giveth thee. Is America the gates that the Lord our God giveth us?
No.
They who says home, our homeland, right? The land that we were going to possess. No, not your body. Is America the gates which the Lord our God giveth us? No, it's not.
Get to it.
Deuteronomy 16:5. Again, this is given to the children of Israel as they're getting ready to enter into the land of Canaan, right? To conquer it. Okay. And we're being told not to sacrifice the Passover in any of the gates that the Lord gives us. Just you can't. If I live in, let's say, Shechem, I can't just sacrifice the Passover in Shechem.
Why?
Right?
Why?
If I live in, let's say, Gilead, I can't just sacrifice the Passover in Gilead.
Why?
Right? Let's say I was in Hebron, I just can't sacrifice the Passover
Why?
in Hebron.
Why?
Right?
Because it's only
But it's
supposed to be
telling us
done
that
where?
the Lord's going to choose a place to set His name, and there we are to
There you go.
keep the Passover.
There
Right?
you go.
This is in context of the land. We're not in the land right now. Right? We are not in the land. Right? Deuteronomy 16:5 does not apply to America because America is not the gates in which the Most High God gave us. Right? Or He was getting ready to give us in the context of Deuteronomy 16. Right? If you live in the UK does not apply. Right? If you live in Jamaica, you live in Mexico, you live in Canada.
For the people, y'all that maybe that's following, that may be a little confused. He's trying to make the argument that it says you can't do this within any of the gates the Most High gave you, which is in the land of Canaan. He's saying America is not a part of that, so he's not saying you can't do it in America. That's the argument he's making, right? It is not America is not the gates the Most High chose, so this text is not saying you can't do it in America. But the text says the reason you can't do it in those places is because it's only supposed to be done in Jerusalem. So if it's only supposed to be done in Jerusalem, that eliminates America. He's really trying to make the argument. Well, America is not the gates the Most High chose. So this is it talking about America. It doesn't say I can't do it in America because it says not in the gates He gave you. But it's not clicking that is you can't do it in the gates He gave you because it's only supposed to be done in Jerusalem. So if it's only supposed to be done in Jerusalem, that means it can't be done in America. This might be the weakest argument I've heard so far on this.
None of those places are the gates which the Lord thy God hath given you. We are in the land of our captivity, right? And the reason why we are in captivity is because of what? We did not keep the commandments, right? So now, let's go.
Exactly. And you trying to keep Passover and slaughter the Passover lamb in America is you not keeping the commandments because it tells you not to do that.
To Deuteronomy chapter 18.
Oh, this
Actually, let's go to Deuteronomy 30 first. We'll go to Deuteronomy 30 and then we'll go to Deuteronomy 18. Okay.
This is bad.
Let me know if y'all following along. Right?
We following along.
So Deuteronomy 30 verse 1 says, and it shall come to pass when all these things come upon thee, the blessing and the curse, which I have set before thee, and thou shalt call them to mind among all the nations, whither the Lord thy God hath driven thee, and shalt return unto the Lord thy God, and shalt obey His voice according to all that I command thee this day, that thou and thy children with all thy heart and with all thy soul, that then the Lord thy God will turn thy captivity and have compassion upon thee, and will return and gather thee from all the nations whither the Lord thy God hath scattered thee. If any of thine be driven out unto the utmost parts of heaven, from thence will the Lord thy God gather thee, and from thence will He fetch thee. And the Lord thy God will bring thee into the land which thy fathers possessed, and thou shalt possess it, and He will do thee good and multiply thee above thy fathers. The Lord thy God will circumcise thine heart and the heart of thy seed, to love the Lord thy God with all thy heart, all thy soul, that thou mayest live. So we see here, right? This is a prophecy in the law, right? It shall come to pass, right?
This is bad.
When we've received the blessings, when we've experienced the curses, we'll remember and call these things to mind. We'll remember ourselves. in the lands of our captivity, where the Lord has driven us. And we will return unto the voice of the Lord our God and obey his commandments, right? If we don't do that, if we don't keep God's commandments, we're just going to stay in the lands of our captivity. Obviously, every...
Oh, mom, is it echo? Is it echo? Y'all ain't tell me it was an echo. Zara had to come tell me it was an echo. Hold up. Hold up. Why y'all ain't tell me? Zara had to come in here and tell me it's an echo, man.
single prophecy is for an appointed time.
Let me know if it's still an echo.
When the Most High God deems fit.
Let me know if it's still an echo. I'm gonna pause it real fast. Do y'all still hear an echo? Do y'all still hear an echo? Heck, Zara, y'all it was an echo this whole time and nobody ain't say nothing. Zara had to. Oh my goodness. Definitely bogus. Definitely bogus. Definitely bogus. All right, it's good now. No echo. All right. Here we go.
Speak. Right. So this is the vision. This is a prophecy.
All right. So look. So this what a lot of people try to do, right? They try to go to Deuteronomy 30. Say, oh, when you in exile, God says to keep all the laws. Passover is one of the laws. No. When you in exile, you're supposed to keep all the laws that apply. Because not at one time in anyone's life or in any place in the world does every single law in the Torah is on one person. There's laws only for women that men aren't required to keep. There's laws for animals that's not for humans. There's laws for priests. There's laws for kings. Everyone's not a priest or a king. So at any given time or any given person has to know what applies to them. So when it says keep all God's commandments, it's talking about what? All the laws that apply to you. A woman is going to keep all the laws that apply to her. There's laws that apply to her that don't apply to a man. So when you're in exile, you have to know what laws apply to you in exile. Passover is not one of the laws that apply in exile, right? So he's using this. Let's do this real fast. I'm gonna get back to the video. This is one of the laws that's in Deuteronomy. That Deuteronomy 30 is talking about. Take care that you do not offer your burnt offerings at any place that you see, but at the place the Lord will choose in one of your tribes. There shall you offer your burnt offerings. There shall you do all that I am commanding you. That's a part of Deuteronomy 30. In the land, what you do? You offer those burnt offerings in the place the Most High choose. If you're outside the land, you can't give those burnt offerings. Right? You see how you have one law that applies when you're in the land, another law that same law doesn't apply when you're outside the land. So you can't say Deuteronomy 30 tells you to keep all the laws, because if you kept all the laws in exile and there's a law that's only supposed to be kept in the land, you will be breaking the commandment. And I'll read this again. This is one of the ones you will be breaking. As we know, the holy thing the lamb is a holy thing, right? Let's go back to Deuteronomy chapter 12. We're going to read verse 26. But the holy things that are due from you in your vow offerings you shall take and shall go to the place the Lord will choose. And offer your burnt offerings and the flesh and the blood on the altar of the Lord your God. The blood of your sacrifices shall be poured out on the altar of the Lord your God, but the flesh you may eat. This is the law. The holy things are only supposed to be done in the place the Most High chose. If you're in America, if you're in exile, you cannot give a holy thing. If there's no temple, there's no altar, there's no the place of the Most High is not set up, you can't offer a holy thing. So you cannot go to Deuteronomy 30 talking about, oh, it says wrong thing. It says to keep all the laws. Bozo, this is why you guys are in sin, because you don't know what applies in exile and what doesn't apply in exile. You don't know what apply only for women. You're going to tell a woman, hey sis, make sure you keep all the laws. all the laws. How does she keep all the laws? She has to know what applies to her. She can't keep laws that's for men. That's only for men, I mean. So we have to understand that, bro. So Deuteronomy 30 to sort of say God says keep all the laws is weak. You have to know what applies.
So the word of the Most High God does not return unto him void. In order for us to get delivered, we have to keep the commandments. We have to obey his voice according to what? All that I commanded this day, right? We have to teach it to our children. And then the Lord's going to turn our captivity. Then he's going to have compassion on us. Then he's going to deliver us and gather us from all the nations and bring us back into our land. So in order for us to get delivered out of Babylon, to get delivered out of America, we have to keep the commandments. Part of keeping the commandments includes keeping Passover, keeping the feast days, right? Now, obviously, right, we're not, when a brother sins, right, we don't have a place to go and bring a sin offering, right? We don't have a priesthood. We're in exile, right? But we still keep the commandments that apply to us.
Oh, so he does understand what applies. So he just clearly exhibited that he knows what applies can be kept. So why are you trying to go ahead and make the argument of Passover when you just read Passover is only supposed to be kept in the place the Most High chose? You just read it.
For instance, I'm from the tribe of Judah. There are particular laws that apply to the Levites, right, and to the priests. For instance, right, the Ark of the Covenant. Let me ask y'all, who is allowed to touch the Ark of the Covenant? Who's allowed to bear the Ark of the Covenant? Let's see who paid attention in Bible study. Right, Bezalel. No, not Melchizedek. Right, the Levites. The Levites are the only ones that are allowed to bear the Ark of the Covenant. Right. In the Bible, the Ark of the Covenant was stolen by the Philistines.
I sped it up so we can get through this.
The Most High God sent a whole bunch of plagues against them. Right, they took it and brought it to the temple of Dagon. Right, the next morning they came. Dagon was prostrate on the ground in front of the Ark of the Covenant. Right, they came back the next day. Dagon's idol was broken. Right, then they took the Ark of the Covenant. They sent it to another Philistine city. There were 5 cities of the Philistines. Right, and they go from city to city. All these plagues come upon them. Right, then the Philistines they take 2 ox that had or 2 cows that never had a yoke put to them. Right, took a ox cart, put the Ark of the Covenant on it, and sent it to the land of Israel. Sent it into the land of the Israelites. Right, because the Most High God was jacking them up. Right, when David conquered Jerusalem, he wanted to bring the Ark of the Covenant to Jerusalem, right, to Zion. And what did David do? David had a brand new ox cart built to bring the Ark of the Covenant from Shiloh to Jerusalem. And as the story goes on, one of the ox fell, and the Ark of the Covenant began to fall.
It's interesting that he's going through this, right? Remember, I was just talking about this, the traveling of the Ark, how it went from Shiloh, then it eventually got to Jerusalem. So he's going through this. So he clearly understands. Well, he probably don't know the Ark of the Covenant is the name of the Lord because he don't study the Torah that well or study the Tanakh that well. But he's going through it. So that's the irony in this, right? That word just messed me up. Irony. I can't even say that word right. Whatever. Irony. That's the irony in this, right? And the reason they were able to keep the Passover in the wilderness, why? Because the Ark of the Covenant was with them. Wherever the ark went, they went. So they was able to keep the Passover in the wilderness for 40 years. When they crossed over, got into the land, the first stop was Gilgal. They stopped there with the ark, kept Passover at Gilgal. Joshua placed the ark in Shiloh for 430 something years, if I'm remembering right. Somebody get the exact number and put it in the chat. It was at Shiloh for 430 something years. I think I'm not even gonna say 430 something, but it was in Shiloh for 400 something years. They went to Shiloh every year. And then as he's describing, they took it out to war. The Philistines got it. They had it in the Philistines. It went to Obed-Edom's house. It went to another person's house. Then David finally took it to Jerusalem, and it was set up in Jerusalem. And the Most High let us know Jerusalem is the place he chose his name to dwell there. So Jerusalem was the place it was chosen. And that's where the ark was. That's where the house was built. And that's where everybody had to go to present themselves before the Most High to keep Passover. So he knows this history, but it's still not clicking for him on why you can't keep Passover in America.
The cart, and a man passing by who was not a Levite, right? An
Oh,
Israelite,
oh,
he tried to bear up the Ark of the Covenant.
I knew you was gonna say something about me messing up that word. Chill out. All the camps are out of order yesterday, today, and they keep playing No Promised Land. They crazy, man. Slaughtering. Hey, Zara, you should have saw the video. They was I'm gonna send it to you. They was slaughtering this lamb, and it wasn't even a pleasant slaughtering. It was the knife don't seem like it was sharp. The lamb, poor lamb, hit the ground, was kicking and suffering, and then they was like, "Yo, it's fighting. Hit him again." Like this is what they doing. It's wicked, man. These dudes is wicked.
He dropped dead.
369 years. It was in Shiloh 369 years. That's where it stayed at. That's the first place the Most High chose. If we go to Jeremiah, God says he destroyed Shiloh and took his name from there. This is crazy. It was Shiloh was the first place he chose his name, and then Jerusalem was the next.
Now, all of that happened because David had the Ark of the Covenant moved from Shiloh to Jerusalem in a manner that went against the law. The Levites were supposed to bear it on poles. That's how they were supposed to move the Ark of the Covenant, not on a ox cart. Okay, overcome. Just put you in timeout because you're just chatting. Okay. So the Ark of the Covenant is only allowed to be touched by the Levites. Okay. I, as a Judite, I could not touch the Ark of the Covenant. Right. There are things that the priests are allowed to do that I, as a regular layperson, would not be allowed to do. Right. Another thing. Actually, let's go here really quickly. Leviticus chapter 10. Right. Now, this particular passage gets taken out of context. Well, has been taken out of context by brothers in the past, and they've used this as a proof to try to say that dreadlocks are unlawful, right? Because it's a misunderstanding of what's going on.
Now let's just get to the part.
Which he commanded them not.
So he's clearly just going to give more examples of how he understands that there are not situational. There are laws that only apply to certain people, certain individuals, right? We got that. I don't care to hear your whole story, bro. Get to Passover.
Them for burning the wrong incense. Then Moses said unto Aaron, "This is that the Lord spake, saying, I will be sanctified in them that come nigh me, and before all the people I will be glorified." And Aaron held his peace. And Moses called Mishael and Elzaphan. Right? High priest can't go to a funeral. Right? Actually, I'll show you. Right? Leviticus 21 is the chapter.
All right, bro. We want to get to the Passover.
They shall not make what baldness upon their head. Neither shall they shave off the corner of their beard, nor make any cuttings in their flesh. They shall be holy unto their God, and to not profane the name of their God. For the offering of the Lord made by fire, and the bread of their God they do offer. Therefore they shall be burnt with fire. So if a regular Israelite woman commits adultery, plays the whore, as the Bible puts it, she gets hurt in the adultery, gets stoned with stones. But the daughter of a priest, if she does something like that, she gets burnt with fire. These are two individuals getting treated differently under the law, right? Two Israelites being treated differently under the law, right? So again, this goes to show that
I'm happy he understands that. Again, laws apply to different things, different people, different situations. I'm just curious why it's not clicking that there's also laws that apply for in the land and outside the land. Maybe he's going to get there. Maybe this video going to surprise me. Maybe, I don't know.
Keep the law, right? We uphold the law. We regard the law, right, as being pure, good, holy, and something that should be observed. However, there's certain laws that you physically cannot observe because they don't apply to you, right? I would not. If I go to Leviticus 7, which goes into certain sacrifices, right? Leviticus 7, priest part in the offering, right? This don't apply to me, right? This doesn't apply to me. I bring the sacrifice to the Lord. Part of it belongs to the priest. The rest of it's for the Lord. Simple. I don't get to eat of that, right? Because there's things specific for the priest.
Okay, we got it, man.
So
get to the Passover.
when we're looking at Deuteronomy chapter 16 and verse 5, so there one more time, right? This does not apply to us today because if I keep the Passover like we did last year, right? Even came in, we slit the lamb's neck.
So
right? We drained the blood. We put the blood on the doorpost.
He did all that to say Deuteronomy 16 does not apply to us. He did all that to say, dude, where it says you can only keep Passover in Jerusalem, He did all that to say Deuteronomy 16 does not apply to us. Are we freaking kidding me, buddy?
And we seasoned it, put it on the grill, roasted it with fire, right? Ate it with unleavened bread and bitter herbs. Beautiful, right? We did this in Philadelphia. Philadelphia is not one of the gates which the Lord our God hath given.
Yo, so he's oh my goodness. He's saying because Deuteronomy 16, it says, you shall not do it in any of your gates. West Philadelphia, y'all know I've been calling him West Philadelphia born and raised for like a year now. He's saying because Deuteronomy 16 says you shall not do it in any of your gates the Most High give you. West Philadelphia is not the gates the Most High give them. So West Philadelphia is not a part of that. That's what he's saying. But the text also say it can't be done in those places. Why? Because it's only supposed to be done in the place the Most High choose. So if it's one, let me go over here. If it's one place the Most High chose to keep Passover, how are you telling us there's another place that it can be kept? That is crazy.
Right. So brothers take this and they use it as an excuse to not keep the feast days, right? To not keep other feast days.
We can barely hear Eric. Y'all can't hear? Come on, y'all. Oh man. Well, I got it turned all the way up, so I don't know.
Right. And that's a problem. If we want to get delivered, we have to keep the commandments. So let's go 2 chapters later, right? Deuteronomy chapter 18 and verse 18. It says, and I will raise him up a prophet from among their brethren like unto thee, and I will put my words in his mouth, and he shall speak unto them all that I shall command him. And it shall come to pass that whosoever will not hearken unto the words, to my words, which he shall speak in my name, I will require it of him. What does that mean? Right, let's look at this in the ESV. It says, whoever will not listen to my words that he speaks shall speak in my name, I myself will require it of him. Meaning, I'm going to hold you responsible for not listening to this specific prophet that I raise up and put my words in his mouth. And this prophet is who the world calls Jesus Christ, Mashiach Yahushua. Right? Now, when we take a look at, again, and understanding Deuteronomy 18, verses 18 through 19, we have to look at the words of Yahushua.
So pretty much, right, he getting to it. He's saying Deuteronomy 16 doesn't apply to us and doesn't apply to West Philadelphia born and raised. This is bad work.
Right. So Luke chapter 21, right? Verse 7, it says, then came the day of unleavened bread on which the Passover lamb had to be sacrificed. So Yahushua sent Peter and John, saying, Go and prepare the Passover for us, that we may eat it. They said unto him, where will you have us prepare it?
Sidebar. The funny part about this, right? When you read the Christian Testament, when Passover came, everybody was traveling to to Jerusalem to keep Passover. So even in their book, it's letting you why would everybody be traveling to Jerusalem to keep Passover if you didn't have to go to Jerusalem to keep Passover? Even in the Christian Testament, they all went to Passover. I mean, went to Jerusalem to keep Passover. All of them. They was traveling into Jerusalem. Like that's the funniest part about this.
And he said, behold.
Why they wasn't keeping Passover all the places they were scattered in the Christian Testament? Like, make that make sense to me. You telling us it could be kept in West Philadelphia born and raised, right? In America. In the Christian Testament, why are all the Jews, all the Israelites at that time traveling to Jerusalem for Passover? Why? Why? Like, this is crazy.
To the city, a man carrying a jar of water will meet you. Follow him into the house that he enters, and tell the master of the house, the teacher says to you, where is the guest room where I may eat the Passover with my disciples? And he will show you a large upper room furnished, prepare it there. Right? So Christ is telling the disciples to prepare the Passover. Right? It's a Passover. In verse 14, it says, and when the hour came, he reclined at the table, and the apostles with him. And he said unto them, I earnestly desire to eat this Passover with you before I suffer. For I tell you, I would not eat it until it is fulfilled in the kingdom of God. So Christ was not going to eat Passover ever again because he was getting ready to be killed. He was getting ready to be sacrificed as the Passover lamb, right? It says, and he took up a cup, and when he had given thanks, he said, take this and divide among yourselves.
For the record, again, this whole conversation that he's reading in his text, they're in Jerusalem.
Tell you that from now on, I will not drink of the fruit of the vine until the kingdom of God comes. And he took bread, and when he had given thanks, he broke it and gave it to them, saying, This is my body, which is given for you. Do this in remembrance of me. And likewise, a cup after they had eaten, saying, This cup that is poured out for you is the new covenant in my blood. But behold, the hand of him who betrays me is with me on the table. For the Son of Man goes as it has been determined. But woe to that man by whom he is betrayed. Right? So the point is, verse 19, right? Do this in remembrance of me. Right? Keeping Passover. Part of keeping Passover is eating the lamb, right? And eating the unleavened bread, the bitter herbs. We do this now in remembrance of Christ because he is our Passover lamb. Right? So if you don't keep Passover, how can you keep this? How can you not be deemed guilty of not listening to the words that Yahushua spoke, which ultimately were the Father's words? You can't, right? So there it is, right? You keep the commandments.
This is bad, bro.
Right? So now let's.
This is bad,
bro. Like I said, it's gonna be a shorter lesson today, right? Let's go into our feast day calendar, right? So
that was his. I don't care about his feast day calendar.
Us here at the House of Bread, we keep the lunar Sabbath, right? We
keep. I think that was his whole. Was that his whole breakdown? Yeah, that was his whole breakdown, his whole thing. So pretty much, yeah, that was his. Now he's getting into the calendar, his calendar. All right, so that was horrible. So his whole breakdown, his whole breakdown is 2 points. Deuteronomy 16 do not apply to us because when it says you cannot offer the Passover sacrifice in any of the gates the Most High your God gave you, he didn't give us America, our homes in America as gates. So that's not included in there. So God didn't tell, according to him, he couldn't keep it in West Philadelphia. That's his point. But he ignored the part that says you can't keep it in those gates because it's only supposed to be kept in Jerusalem. He ignored that part. He ignored the second half of that. So it's easy to debunk that. It's only, you can't keep it there because it's only supposed to be kept in Jerusalem. And if it's only supposed to be kept in Jerusalem, that means you can't keep it anywhere else. Right? So that's his point. And then his second point is, well, JC told them to do this in remembrance of him. So this is why they have to do it. But Bozo, if JC is your lamb, why are you slaughtering an actual lamb? Now, if you're a Christian and says, yo, I don't keep Passover according to Torah, I keep Passover according to the Christian Testament. So I'm drinking wine, eating bread, and I'm giving whatever to JC. I'm going to say I don't even care about that. I don't care. But all I know is you can't offer that Passover lamb as a sacrifice outside of Jerusalem. So you in sin really, and you don't even have to be sin if you let me say this. You in sin of breaking Passover where you don't even have to be in sin in breaking Passover if you just do what JC told you to do and not sacrifice the Passover lamb and let him be your lamb. That's still whatever, but you offering a sacrifice, you sacrificing the lamb, and you don't even have to in your belief system. That makes no sense to me. JC is your lamb. Why are you offering a sacrifice, a lamb sacrifice? So you just in sin just to be in sin. You just double down in all your sin, right? So his points is horrible, man. It's ridiculous, bro. That's bad. All right, but I guess that was his attempt to reply to my video subliminally, right? Because he didn't mention me, but my video was called "Keeping Passover Outside the Land is a Sin," and I put him in my video, showed him how he's putting blood in the doorpost. It's crazy. And look. Let me show you this, right? Let me show y'all, right? Because somebody sent me this. All right, hold on, let me see if I can find it. Let me show y'all. Oh, let me go to this text message because it's in my text. Somebody sent me this. Hold on, let me go to my text. It's in my text. Look at this. Hold on. It's in my text. This is our. Where is it? This is Ahrayahla. Can y'all see this, or do I have to put it on my computer? This is Ahrayahla's lamb that he posted. I don't know if this the last year one or if this one. He slaughtered it. That's what he doing. That's what he doing. Dudes are wicked. If Jay see a lamb, why are you slaughtering lambs? You just want to break the law just to break the law, just to go to Deuteronomy 16 and tell us it don't apply to us. That's bad work, right? So we done we done what, man. Zara, that video, bro, of them slaughtering that lamb was brutal, bro. But we done with Ahrayahla. That was horrible. I'm sure his camp, like, man, that was bad. You're just gonna say, oh, it says don't keep Passover, no place but Jerusalem. This is crazy. I want to go to this text real fast, cause I want to go to this text, cause let's see if these people know better than Ahrayahla. Let's see if these people know better than Ahrayahla. Maybe I don't know better than Ahrayahla. Let's see if these people know better than Ahrayahla. Look what it says. This is 2 Chronicles chapter 30. Hezekiah sent all Israel and Judah. Hezekiah sent to all Israel and Judah and wrote letters also to Ephraim and Manasseh, that they should come to the house of the Lord at Jerusalem to keep Passover to the Lord, the God of Israel. For the king and the princes and all the assembly in Jerusalem had taken counsel to keep Passover in the second month, right? So we know you keep Passover in the second month because in case you was unclean for whatever reason, you couldn't make it to the first one, right? So you got to keep it to the second month until you're clean, right? Look what it says. For they could not keep it at that time because the priests had not consecrated themselves sufficiently, nor had the people assembled in Jerusalem. Right? So it's two reasons, according to the great person or people that wrote 2 Chronicles 30. It's two reasons, according to Hezekiah, at this time, that they did not keep Passover. One reason was what? The priests had not consecrated themselves sufficiently. The other reason is because they had not assembled themselves to Jerusalem. They're telling you they didn't keep Passover because they didn't assemble themselves to Jerusalem. That's what it tells you. So how, if they understood Passover couldn't be kept because they did not assemble themselves to Jerusalem, how are you going to tell us you can keep Passover without assembling yourself to Jerusalem? How are you going to tell me that? This is the Tanakh. This is the text y'all believe, right? This is the text we believe, right? Yeah. Shadeja, can you get her from by the door? You see it? This is why I don't be going live. You see it? Y'all hear? Bring it up, daddy. It's like my shadow. But if the Tanakh tells us they didn't keep Passover because they did not assemble themselves to Jerusalem, how are you going to tell me in this chat or anywhere else that you can keep Passover without assembling yourself to Jerusalem? Come on, brother. Come on, broski. Come on, broski. Come on, brother, man. I got another video I want to watch, right? I told y'all this is going to be a long live. I told y'all. It's about 2 hours. And I got more texts, but if you haven't watched my video from last year about how Passover is a sin outside the land, make sure you go watch it, because I'm not getting into all that again on this live. I just want to rewatch some. I just want to react to some videos. And then my baby out there having the fit. She want me. All right, and I want to watch this other live. What's his name? Priest Hakah, the Genesis people. They did a video on Passover, and I watched this one a little bit. I watched a little bit of it. I didn't watch the whole video, but it's kind of interesting what I saw in this one. So I want to watch it because I think Hakah and Hasad are now teaching that you can't keep Passover outside the land. That wasn't always their stance, but I think they updated their doctrine once again. You know, they've been updating their doctrine a lot lately. So I'm going to watch this just to make sure, because I watched a little bit of it, just to make sure. All right, so I'm going to pull this up real fast. And I'm going to see.
Got my spring.
I'm going to see if this is what's going on in this video. I'm going to see what's up with this video. Because I'm going to see what's up with this video. Because that wasn't always their stance. You know, they was with Sakari. Same camp Ahrayahla was in. They had the same doctrine. Keeping slaughtering lambs. That was their doctrine. You can keep Passover. That was their doctrine. So I'm going to see if they updated this doctrine. I'm about to see if they updated their doctrine. I think the commandment to memorialize Pesach is important for the second coming. I agree that sacrificing the lamb is an error. I am glad the Most High led me to this channel. Just to be aware, I'm not a JC file. I don't believe in the Christian Testament. I'm Tanakh only, but I'm happy I can help you with that. You know, so all praise to the Most High. If you're a Torah keeper, you know, let's get right. You might want to read. We're gonna get to that, right? Because sacrificing the lamb, slaughtering the lamb is definitely an error, right? But I'm gonna just say this: in the Tanakh, the great man Daniel, during Passover and unleavened bread, he fasted. He didn't eat any meat. He didn't drink any wine. Right? He didn't eat no pleasant bread. He fasted. He prayed 3 times a day, and the Most High sent him an angel. And we know Daniel wasn't in sin. We know he couldn't go to Jerusalem. He couldn't assemble to Jerusalem because the temple was destroyed. They were scattered. There was an exile. So that's actually what I'm doing right now. Is the season of unleavened bread Passover, and I'm fasting. So you don't just live life like, oh, whatever. No, I'm acknowledging the season. I'm honoring this season. But what I'm doing is praying and fasting that the Most High turn to us, being in repentance, that we go to Jerusalem, that it's set back up, that we're able to keep it the way it should be kept. Right? So all praise to the Most High. I see things that I have to reconsider concerning Pesach and exile. All praises, all praises. All praises. Look how slick talk himself. He's definitely a slick talker. Yeah, man. Hey, Steven, they've been changing that doctrine. So we're going to see what they talking about. We're going to see what they're talking about. We are required to observe the feast forever. Some things have been added, but as long as we do what is required, eat matzah and remove the 5 grain from our house. I'm not upset with that. I'm not upset. I eat unleavened bread. Right? I eat unleavened bread. I eat the bread of affliction. I do that. But that's not keeping it. It's not keeping it. Keeping Passover, keeping unleavened bread. Doing unleavened bread, people don't understand. There are sacrifices that's given every day of unleavened bread in the temple by the priest. Every day. Every day. We're not keeping it if that can't be done. We're not keeping Passover if we're not slaughtering the Passover. So we can eat matzah. We can eat unleavened bread. But we cannot do the sacrifice of the holy thing. We cannot do Passover. That's just it. Just it. The only thing that we can be done, that we are required to do, pray, repent, turn back to the Most High. That's what we could do during Passover. Pray, repent. We could do what Daniel did. Pray, repent, fast. Right, but let's get to this video, man. Because this video gonna be like 2 hours, almost 3 hours. I told you I'm here. It's a fact. That is a fact. Twisted. I love the phrase "twisted it," by the way. Hakah and hasad been getting beat bad lately. I haven't been keeping up with them. I saw this. Somebody sent it to me. They did this 8 days ago, so I'm just seeing this. So I haven't been keeping I don't know. After I whooped on Hakah in that debate, they kind of left me alone. But we're gonna see. Let's see what they talking about here.
Water. We're ready. We're ready to do it, y'all. All praise to the Most High. All right, so y'all fall in, climb in, hit the like button, share, subscribe, all the stuff. I'm gonna share this on Instagram, and then we're gonna get right into it, y'all. We gonna get right into it. Some of y'all been getting your lamb from Kroger's. Let's get Brother Hassan in here. Y'all been getting your lamb from Kroger, getting your lamb, getting halal lamb. Some of you guys be buying halal lamb, which is sacrificed to idols, and then calling it the Passover lamb. It's crazy.
Now that's a fact. They be getting their lamb from Kroger and Publix. Like that ain't no Passover lamb, man. Yeah. They ain't keeping no Passover.
Okay, yeah. So we gotta talk about it today. Let me make sure I share this on a couple more platforms, and we're gonna get it popping like crack corn. Couple more platforms, we're gonna get it popping like crack corn. Interesting. All right, y'all. I'm wondering why this is crazy. Okay.
The sacrifice of the actual lamb was a one-time event. Why would you put blood on their doorpost? I don't know. I don't think it wasn't a one-time event. You would a lamb would be sacrificed. Lambs will be sacrificed every year for Passover, but the blood on doorpost, that definitely was a one-time event. Definitely was a one-time event.
Minute to get into the algorithm here. It's taking a minute to get.
Let
into
me get to the
algorithm here.
part. Let me get
But
to
it's
the
all
part.
good, y'all. We got to bully the algorithm a certain day at the temple by the high priest.
All right.
Lamb from Kroger. That's your lamb from Walmart.
Let me get that back because
Into it through the spirit and power of the Most High. When you start saying, "Oh, well, you got to eat it fast," "Oh, well, uncircumcised can't eat it," "Oh, you got to burn it after," then you're making that the Passover lamb, and that's what you honoring. It's a memorial. But then I'm gonna be honest with y'all. When you put to get into the algorithm here,
I wanted to rewind it because I don't know. Maybe I'm jumping the gun. He said, "In the spirit and power of the Most High," and he stopped right there. It's kind of that's kind of interesting. The reason why that's interesting because I always hear them say, "In the spirit and power of whatever JC." He ain't say that there. I don't know. Let's see. Maybe I misheard it. I just want to double back.
But it's all good, y'all. We got to bully the algorithm. Somebody says I researched this topic a few months back. Now we did too. We did a presentation on this a few months back, and we said that we're just commemorating, we're just honoring. It's a memorial. But then I'm gonna be honest with y'all. When you put the restrictions on that lamb, then you're making that the Passover lamb, and that's where you transgress. That's where you violate. So we're gonna go into it.
Okay, so they did update their doctrine. At least they studying and they're learning. And at least they studying and they're learning. That's what it's about, man. Studying and correcting yourself. Right? So if this video is gonna go how I think it's gonna go, I'm not even gonna be too hard on Hakah and Hasad. Like I normally am. If they're correcting themselves, all praise to the Most High. No, sir, you are incorrect. We left Egypt one time. Yeah, all right. Just read Deuteronomy 16, bro. Getting the lamb from Kroger is diabolical.
Power of the Most High. When you start saying, "Oh, well, you got to eat it fast," "Oh, well, uncircumcised can't eat it," "Oh, you got to burn it after," that is you saying that is the Passover lamb, and that's not the Passover lamb. That's your lamb from Kroger. That's your lamb from Walmart.
That is a fact.
The Passover lamb is supposed to be chosen on a certain day, unalived on a certain day at the temple by the high priest. Somebody said OT only's been teaching this. Well, I don't really watch OT onlys, but you guys say OT onlys. You guys say don't keep none of the feasts. I don't agree on that.
He'll be watching OT. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Look. I'm happy. He's updating doctrine. All right, let's continue.
Shalom, how's my audio?
Oh, you're sounding good. You're sounding good.
Okay, I'll praise the
What's
Most
your
High.
location?
What's my location? And I'm in the sticks right now, but we should be good.
All praise to the Most High.
You sure my fan is not too loud? You can't hear nothing too crazy?
Good. You're
All
good.
Right,
I'm finna share this on Instagram, and then we're gonna get started.
All praise the Most High. Yeah, everybody, this is...
Somebody said, "Did you eat the lamb?" It's not about if you ate the lamb or not. It's about if you believe that lamb is the Passover lamb, and it's just not, sir.
Yeah.
So you're not keeping the law, whether you do it or not.
So now someone might ask, are you breaking the law? So we're going to go into that. And this is not an attack, of course, on anybody that's commemorating.
Heard what you just said. I'm gonna be honest. I ain't hear a camp bring this out before. Now, I know I've been beating people in the head with this for a couple years now. I've talked to these brothers about this, if I'm remembering correctly.
Passover, and we're going to get into that also as well. but not to spoil or jump the gun too much. But the Bible is very clear on where the Passover is to be observed. I've seen certain brothers, normally I don't use names, but for a situation like this, I'm going to use a name. I've seen the ISBK say if you don't go to their Passover, you're in sin.
Damn. The Crip Max of the community.
They said if you don't go to their Passover, that we're all in sin, when ironically, them saying that is the actual Passover is a sin.
Them in sin, yeah.
Okay.
The
So
Crip Max of the community.
for anybody that's just commemorating it and acknowledges, hey, I know this isn't the Passover, but in honor of what our ancestors did, I want to commemorate it and celebrate what I'm able to do. There's nothing wrong with that. But for you to now act like you killing an animal is sacrificing it to the Most High. The Bible is also very clear on where we are and are not allowed to sacrifice animals. So
now watch this.
Hey, Steve, I ain't want to say it. And I'm pretty sure. Because I know some people that tell me some people about some things. I'm pretty sure they watch my videos. And I'm sure other OT only videos. But I'm gonna leave. I'm not going. We ain't gonna do that. I'm gonna let them ride. If they correcting themselves, no matter if they got it from whoever they got the correction from, whoever they studied it from, or if they just went in there and studied for themselves. All praise to the Most High if they're correcting themselves.
Let me share it one more place. Watch my slide. My slide game is going crazy.
All right, get to it, man.
Oh,
get
the
to
link
it,
to
man.
this presentation, free PDF link in the description.
Get to it. We want to get to it.
Right? Boom. So I know it looks like this is IUIC, but it's not. This is ancient. This is ancient imagery of our people, of what it would have looked like in the temple. And you're gonna see that it says, let all your males appear before the Lord. You don't have to travel with your whole family 3 times a year. 3 times a year, you go to Jerusalem to keep the Passover, tabernacles, and Pentecost. All right, 3 times a year. If your black behind could keep it outside the land, it wouldn't be a law telling you to keep it to come back to the land 3 times a year. You understand that? So let me. I forgot to share it on my other YouTube. Hold on a second. Okay, let me share it on my other YouTube real quick. We are live, and we'll open it up for questions, comments, and smoke. It's all good. That's what we do.
All right, man. I want to get to the
That's
part,
what we
man.
do,
Get to it, man. All this talking,
Okay.
man. Get to the.
All right. So according to Torah, we are not keeping Passover when outside of the land.
I want to say this, right? Hold
You
on.
can still honor.
I want to say this. The reason why, again, y'all know I ain't gonna keep pausing it too much. The reason why I like this, right? If they're doing what I think they're doing, reason why I like it, because like the brother in the chat, he is a Christian Testament follower, a New Testament follower, right? So me not believing and following the Christian Testament, that could limit somebody that do follow that to say, he may be right, but I'm not going to believe him because he don't follow the Christian Testament. So these brothers actually following it and updating their doctrine to agree to what the OT only say, I love it, because that takes away the excuse from not accepting the truth or correction simply because we don't adhere to the Christian Testament. So that's if they're correcting themselves, that's why I like this, right? So I like it. People are gonna slowly correct themselves and understand that the Tanakh only community has been trying to tell y'all for a long time to correct yourself.
And commemorate the Passover outside of the land. Yes, you can do that by gathering, by teaching the meaning of the deliverance. That's what I do with my children, and observing the memorial aspect of the feast. However, we must make a clear distinction. The lamb we eat today is not the actual Passover sacrifice. You got camp leaders saying, if you don't come to their Passover, you're in sin. You got camp leaders saying, oh, we keep it perfectly. You got camp leaders saying, oh, you're only supposed to go to Jerusalem when you're in the land. But there's a law that says you got to come back when you're outside of the land 3 times a year.
Yeah, we've said that in the past, so we're correcting that.
Yeah, listen, but for the last few years.
Heard what he said? He said, we said that in the past, but now we're correcting that. They're correcting themselves. All praise to the Most High. All praise to the Most High for correction, man. When I would disagree at, again, yeah, I may be a little stricter than them, but I would stay away from eating lamb, because lamb is a lamb. Like, let me do this, right? So people can know what a lamb is. Right? I want to read this. I want to do this, right? Because people think the lamb is like, right? Its own animal, right? So let's read this, right? I want to take this, right? Look what it says. A lamb is generally considered to be a young sheep that is less than 1 year old. Specifically, lambs can be categorized as follows: milk-fed lambs, 2 to 3 months old; spring lambs, 3 to 5 months old; ready for slaughter, typically 6 to 8 months; yearling lambs, 12 to 24 months old, but still referred to as lambs until they reach 1 year. Right? So that's what a lamb is. It's a sheep that's less than 1 year old, 1 years old. Those are for Passover. Those things, when you have that, those are for Passover. A lamb is for Passover. You cannot eat a sheep that is less than 1 years old, or slaughter a sheep that is less than 1 years old. Can't do that. That's it. Now, if it's a lamb that's broken bones, that's got blemishes, whatever, that's not the Passover lamb. If you slaughter that as the Passover lamb, that's in sin alone, because you're giving that to God. That's in sin alone. You're done. Right? So if you're going to take you a lamb, unblemished, unspeckled, you're going to take that and eat that in America, that is a sin. Why? Because the law tells us you can only eat and cook that lamb in Jerusalem. So if you eat and cook a lamb in America, remember, if it fits the requirements, unblemished, stuff like that. If you do that, that's a sin. Now, if you have some deaf, dumb lamb that's been beat, whatever, that don't fit the requirements, sure, do what you want with that. You shouldn't be eating that anyway, but sure, whatever, do what you want with that. But if you take that lamb and you say this is the unblemished, spotted, blah, blah, blah lamb, and you slaughter that, that's a sin. Why? Because that is a holy thing of the Most High. If you eat that, that is a sin. Why? Because it's a holy thing of the Most High, according to Deuteronomy chapter 12 and Deuteronomy chapter 16. It says it verbatim. The lamb can only be eaten and cooked in Jerusalem. That's what it say. I didn't make that up. But let's get back to that. So again, I'm a little more strict on that, and for me, like I'm not eating no lamb on Passover. Not eating that. I'm not touching no things that's a holy thing. I'm not doing that outside of Jerusalem. That's just me. Do you have to be that strict on it? Hey, I don't know. But that's just me. For me.
I have took the stance of we're not keeping the law, we're just commemorating. You're not keeping the law if you do it, you're not breaking the law if you don't do it. Now, if you are breaking the law, if you say this is the Passover, like we established earlier. So look what it says.
But I ain't gonna mean to keep pausing, but that's a loophole right there. You can't, if you have a lamb and you don't say it's the Passover, you good. But if you say it's the Passover, you're not good. That's a loophole. So they could be like, hey, I'm gonna slaughter this, I'm gonna eat this. It fits all the requirements, but it's not the Passover lamb. It's still you're still doing everything like that. Come on, that's like turning the blind eye to it. No, whether you say it or not say it, it's still the Passover lamb that you're slaughtering and killing and eating on Passover, and that's what you should not be doing. All praise to the Most High. All praise to the Most High. We as Jews do not eat lamb for Passover. All praise to the Most High. All praise to the Most High. That's crazy loud. How you gonna eat a lamb around Passover time and say it ain't the Passover lamb? Who they trying to fool? Exactly. It's surely not the Most High. This is crazy. Shalom Gadol, been on this Daniel fast for a couple weeks now. Appreciate you bringing that out. All praise to the Most High. All praise to the Most High. We on day 14 of the Daniel fast, man. All praise to the Most High. All praise to them. And that and Daniel fast is over the next Shabbat. It's over. It's complete. 3 full weeks of the Daniel fast. And I'm gonna go to the park that's close to my home. Is a body of water in there. I'm gonna sit there. I'm gonna lay there. I'm gonna enjoy the weather, enjoy the sound, and I'm gonna pray and meditate there. Why am I doing that? Because when Daniel was over with his fast, he went by a body of water, and he prayed and he chilled. An angel was sent to him. I'm not saying an angel gonna be sent to me or nothing, but I'm going to finish my fast there by a bottle of water with prayer, right? So all praise to the Most High, all praise to the Most High for everybody doing a fast, everybody that's not breaking Passover by trying to slaughter Passovers. And again, Daniel did not eat Passover during this time period, for the record. He ate no meat. So again, that's not nothing I'm adding to the Torah. I'm following the great man Daniel, who was called one of the greatest men. Pollen kicking my ASS this time of year, but so far no issues. I know it's the fast. All praise to the Most High. Beautiful, 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 beautiful.
To the law, the Passover lamb was to be slain at the place Yahweh chose, specifically in Jerusalem at the temple by the high priest. Understand? Everybody walking with me? Without the temple, priesthood, and altar, there is no scripture basis for performing the Passover sacrifice outside the land. Therefore, treating any lamb we eat today as the Passover lamb would be a violation. Would be violating the law. No scripture, nor any source records. Source records Israelites in exile offering or eating the Passover lamb outside the land.
You heard what he said. Offering or eating. But I want to say, I'm happy I can watch a Hakah and hasad video and agree with them for once. I'm happy. Yeah, I'm actually happy these brothers are correcting themselves. I'm always glad to see brothers correcting themselves, man. Because 99.9% of these Israelite camps are in sin every year, all this time period. They're breaking the law.
Verse or one external source that says Israelites were eating the Passover lamb. I want to say that clearly, eating the Passover lamb outside of the land. Scripture and sources actually show the direct opposite. Israelites not eating the lamb or completely not even keeping Passover at all while outside of the land. So what we practice today is a remembrance, not the original ordinance in its commanded form. All right. First power blow. Daniel fasted for 3 weeks while in Babylon.
Look, I'm gonna say this, and I don't be trying to say stuff because I don't be trying to say stuff like this because I don't want to make it seem like I don't be trying to make it seem like I'm tooting my own horn or I'm taking credit for stuff. But I will say this: I have not seen not one person, one Israelite camp teach that Daniel fasted during Passover, even though it's in the text. It's been plenty of Israelites that I had to correct and cut. Daniel fast. This was my two punch combination. Is it a sin if I don't keep Passover in exile? Yeah, it's a sin. Daniel chapter 10. Daniel fasted during. Daniel ain't fast. Show me where Daniel fasted during Passover. I show it to him. Cut. That same move I played for the past 2-3 years. About 2-3 years. Same move I played on Israelites over and over, and they all fall to that. Because I haven't met none of them to understand that Daniel fasted during Passover, and I will make them say either that Daniel was wrong and a sinner here, or that their understanding was wrong, and they will continue to fumble and choke on that. I think this is kind of like a confirmation from me that they've been watching me, which I've been knew they've been watching me. Because I haven't seen that one. And again, I could be wrong. I don't have eyes everywhere. Not the Most High. But I haven't seen nobody teach this. And I've been teaching this on Clubhouse, on YouTube for the past couple years. Y'all be throwing shots at me. You know, I'll beat you up in a debate. Beat both of y'all up in debates. Y'all be throwing shots at me, trying to sneak diss me, calling me gay, doing all this stuff because, you know, I beat y'all up in debates. Y'all at least could have been humble and say, you know what, hey, Gadol, thank you. All praise to the Most High for using you, Gadol, for helping us see this. At least. This is the second time I've seen this. I did a debate on this topic. And then a couple months later, I see the same people that was in the debate are hosting the debate, part of the debate platform, teaching my whole breakdown, acting like they didn't just disagree with me a couple months before. Correcting themselves, all praise to the Most High, but acting like they didn't get it from where they got it from. Acting like they ain't learned from who they learned from. Kind of interesting. I don't like pointing stuff like that out because I ain't trying to take no credit. You know, it's all the Most High will. But I just think it's funny. Y'all can diss me, throw shots at me, throw dirt on my name, but then low-key learning from me. But all praise to the Most High for correcting yourself, man. All praise to the Most High. Wow, this is sad, but a progression. Other camps should know this. This is how you can tell they don't read the Tanakh for context. They just read it to fit JC. But this is a win for the truth. Good for them. All praise to the Most High. That is a fact. That is a fact. That is a fact. All praise. Beit Zadok. Shalom. Shalom. Shabbat. Shalom. Let's continue.
Passover because he knew the law. I'm going to say that again. Daniel fasted for 3 weeks, starting on the 3rd of the first month, ending on the 24th of the first month. Fasted for 3 weeks, completely skipping Passover. Drop a bomb. Put the bombs in the chat, y'all. We gotta give a couple noggins. Gotta bust a couple noggins today. We're gonna get to the Sabbath and other feasts. This particular law is just about the Passover, Pentecost, and Tabernacles. That's what the law says. Now watch this. Daniel chapter 10, verse 2. In those days, I, Daniel, was mourning for 3 weeks. I ate no delicacies, no meat or wine entered my mouth, nor did I anoint myself at all for 3 full weeks.
That's what I'm doing today. Well, I've been doing it since the 3rd of this month. The 3rd of this month. No, excuse me. Not the 3rd of this month. It's the 3rd of Nisan. I've been doing this since the 3rd of Nisan. Right? And the 3rd of Nisan, what day was that? That was, hold on. What day was that in the Gregorian calendar? The 3rd of Nisan was the 21st of March. So the 3rd of Nisan was the 21st of March. So I've been doing this since the 21st of March. What Daniel right here is doing. Right? Shout out to the I don't know if that was a sister or a brother that's also doing it. 3 full weeks. Right, so all praise to the Most High. All praise to the Most High. Daniel fasted. It says on the 24th day of the first month. 24th day of the first month. If he fasted for 3 weeks and his fasted in on the 24th day, we know Passover is the 15th of the first month. I mean, the 14th that evening of the first month. Unleavened bread is from the 15th. Right? So we know he didn't eat no wine. I mean, he didn't drink no wine. He didn't eat no meat. So we know he didn't eat no lamb during Passover. Right? So this is Tanakh. Daniel didn't keep no Passover in exile. He acknowledged the season. How we know he acknowledged the season? Because he started to fast during the season. So he said, oh, this season is here. I'm going to honor it the best way I know how. I'm going to honor it the way I'm supposed to. Why? Because we know in the book of Amos, the Most High said he would turn our feast to what? Mourning. This is why Daniel mourned for 3 weeks. Look. Come on.
This is when he stopped. On the 24th day of the first month, as I was standing on the bank of the great river, the Tigris. Well, he fasted from the 3rd to the 24th. That means he did not keep Passover. Why? He was in exile.
This how I look. No, I'm gonna just let it rock. I ain't gonna keep doing that.
He was in Babylon. He knew the law. And there, Daniel 6, I believe, says that they understood that Daniel kept the law, statutes. It says Daniel keeps the commandments of his God. That's what it says.
Sound like I'm listening to myself.
It's already over, but we're gonna keep going.
Yeah, my bad.
No, you get it?
Yeah, I'm in an area where the connection's bad, so I apologize.
No problem. So according to Daniel chapter 10, verse 2-4, Daniel was fasting for 3 full weeks, and specifically says he ate no pleasant bread, flesh, or wine. The fast ended on the 24th day of the first month, which means his fast covered the time of Passover, the 14th, and the Feast of Unleavened Bread, showing he abstained during the entire period. This proves Daniel did not partake in any lamb as a Passover sacrifice while in captivity. Understanding the law, he would have known the Passover lamb was to be slain at the chosen place, the temple in Jerusalem. So rather than unlawfully treating a common meal as the Passover, he humbled himself in fasting, maintaining reverence for the command instead of violating it. instead of violating it.
And you guys in the chat, you guys
Oh.
have to slow down. All of you guys,
Look, all praise to the Most High. Everybody talk all this stuff about OT only this, OT only that, OT only this, OT only that. They finally learning Torah from who they should be learning Torah from. The OT only. That's why I always tell OT only, man. That's why I always tell. What I always say, we supposed to meditate in Torah day and night. Read Torah day and night. Yeah, I know all my Torah at the dark people that was rocking. We gonna get Torah back up, Torah at the dark up and going again once a week. We gonna get there, right? But all the Torah at the dark people know what did we do? We read Torah every day. When we rise up, when we go is down every day. Why? So we can know things like that. They've been in this walk. Look, I've been in Torah for about over 10 years, a little over 10 years now. Right? Hakah has been in this longer than me. In the so-called truth. It's no way he's just now understanding this. But this has happened when you're not meditating in Torah, as Steve said in the chat earlier. When you're not meditating Torah day and night, you get in sin. Because every time I read Torah, what we do? We pick something new up. You might have read Torah 3 weeks in a row. The fourth week, you read something you missed. That can happen. And this is why Torah, when I say Torah Tanakh only, we supposed to be reading Torah day and night. Not even if you only to everybody that's say to keep the law. Torah day and night. Because we have to be the ones to know, hey, brother, that ain't right. Sister, that ain't right. Torah says this. And that's what Tanakh only is doing. Come on.
questions, they're going to be answered. Someone says, so now keeping Passover is wrong? Brother or sister, I don't know, couldn't read the name. Just slow down and ask. You can ask your question a different way and probably just wait till the time to ask questions is. Just slow down, brother.
Yeah. So what you would want to do for the brother or sister who's just coming in, Hinton, you would have to tell us why Daniel is in Babylon in exile with the temple down and destroyed, and he fasts for 3 weeks.
He said you niggas change your mind every week. Look, people, I want to say this like not to defend them, but if you were wrong in anything and you get the correct information, you should come out and say we were wrong. This is the truth. This is the correction. So I give the kudos to even though as me, Deacon, so we got our own thing. They be throwing shots and stuff. We got our own history. But I want to say kudos to them for having being humble enough to come out and say, yo, this is what we was teaching, we was wrong. We did study and we correct ourselves. We had to get the information so you guys can be corrected. There's too many people that know they're wrong that won't change, or know they're wrong and change and try to keep it away from people. Never talk about it again. So even though people make fun of them for correcting what they feel or updating their doctrine, people make fun of it, but it's nothing wrong about correcting yourself. You get new information and you look at it and you study and you be like, yo, I was wrong. All right, boom, let me get right. Because that's the only thing we should be worried about is being right in the eyes of the Most High. I don't care if I changed this week, last week, and the week before. I don't care. If I got this information and it's the right information and I see it's in line with the text and it's the correct information, I'm going to change. I'm going to correct myself because I want to be in line with Torah. I want to be in line with God. Right? So shout out to them for slowly changing what they believe to be false, And I think them brothers going to come out the Christian Testament soon. I'm going to leave it there, but I think they're going to come out of that.
Doesn't keep Passover at all. Do you think you, Mr. Hinton, are wiser than Daniel and know more than Daniel? When I guarantee you probably eat genetically modified chicken nuggets from Tyson. So now, let's continue. So, are you keeping the law in exile, eating what you believe to be the Passover lamb? That's the question. Are you keeping the law in exile, eating what you believe to be the Passover lamb? And the answer, my brothers and sisters, is no. I got 2 words for you. No. La. Shakwat. It's just no. How do we know? The Torah tells us so. The Torah tells us. Why? Age requirements. First, let's just go through the prerequisites first. The age requirement of your lamb has to be 1 year old. Your lamb has to be without blemish, a male of the first year. You shall not take it out from the sheep or from the goats. This is where the law clearly requires male without blemish. It says you can rather take it from the sheep or the goat, of about 1 year old. Selection day, you got to get it on the 10th day of the month. The 10th day of the month, Exodus 12:3. And the 10th day of the month, you shall take every man a lamb according to the house of their fathers, a lamb for an house. This establishes the lamb is chosen on the 10th day. It is set apart before Passover. Kept until the 14th day. That's when you slaughter it, Exodus 12:6. You shall keep it until the 14th day of the same month, and the whole assembly of the congregation of Israel shall kill it in the evening. So the timeline is the 10th day.
Even though they doing it based on Exodus 12, which is, incorrect, but still giving them the benefit of the doubt for correcting themselves.
Lamb selected, 14th day the lamb is killed. Now, let's say you do it all this way. Let's say you do it all this way. You still won't be able to keep it properly. Why? Let's just say you got it. It was 1 year old. It was without blemish. It was a male or a goat. You got it on the 10th day. You killed it on the 14th day. It's still not going to be the Passover lamb. Why? Because you didn't. It has to be slaughtered at the temple by the high priest. Look at this cute little lamb.
Yeah, that's another important point too. The Levitical priesthood isn't even set up. So how are we going to sacrifice an animal? We don't even have the Levitical priesthood set up.
That's
What's ironic is, who can answer in the chat? One of the two. Well, I'll just go just for time's sake. We are all familiar with 1 Samuel 15 and Saul not doing what God told him to do to Amalek and God punishing him because of that. But that's not the only thing that Saul did that made God angry. Well, another thing that made God angry is Saul sacrificed an animal instead of Samuel when he was supposed to wait for Samuel to come and sacrifice the animal. So we see you cannot, if you're not a Levitical priest, you can't just sacrifice an animal, number one. And two, you have to sacrifice it at a specific.
Must read it. That's why I read it. Then I write it and meditate on the Most High's word. I have so many journals, and you help me with so much with this. Helps me read more, just listening. All praise to the Most High. All praise to the Most High, man. All praise to the Most High. And we definitely Torah at the dark. We're going to get Torah at the dark kicked back off. We're going to get it. I don't know when. We're going to get it kicked back off, man. All praise to the Most High.
Specific place. It literally says the place where the Lord your God shall choose. Brooklyn is not the place where the Lord chose. Right?
West Philadelphia is not the place the Most High chose.
Next one.
Ahrayahla.
I'm telling you right now, we're on helmets tonight. We're on helmets. We're going to put a link in the chat. Your lamb is from Walmart. Your lamb is from Walmart. The high priest. So again, even if I got it. You start already? I should be fine. Thank you. Okay. So again, even if you got it on the 9th day or the 10th day and slaughtered it on the 14th, and it was 1 year old, which most Israelites, I heard a camp leader say, we literally had a camp leader say, the lamb that he gets from Walmart or Costco or Kroger is the Lord's lamb. That's the Lord's Passover.
Crazy.
What are we doing here?
he got the Israelite coming out of Walmart with a lamb. This is crazy.
So your lamb has to be 1 year old without blemish, male or goat. Get it on the 10th, slaughtered on the 14th at the temple in Jerusalem by the high priest, and that's the Passover lamb, my dog.
It's a fact.
You understand that? Oh man, it's odd.
Yeah, and if we're wrong, listen, these brothers are bugging out. You guys notice how everyone's saying, "Oh, you guys are wrong. You guys are bugging out." Okay, prove it. No, we don't want to prove it. Then just shut up. That's what That's good. That's the word of the day for this class. Just shut up. 3 words. If you disagree, that's fine. But at least do the research. And if you disagree, still or not doing no research, then just be quiet and listen and learn. Hopefully.
Hey Hassan, I'm gonna let y'all know what everybody that's gonna disagree, because I've been dealing with these dudes for a couple years now. They're gonna say they kept Passover before they went into the land in the wilderness. That's one of their favorite arguments. They kept Passover in the wilderness. Oh my God. They're gonna do that. They also gonna say Deuteronomy 30. You have to keep all the laws. They're gonna do that. And they also gonna try the Most High put his name on the people. That's good. Hassan, that's what they're gonna say, Hassan. And I'm sure people already probably, because I'm seeing this video late, but I'm sure people already used those against y'all. That's what they're gonna try to say, which are easily to be diced and sliced.
So we're going to continue, but I want to just say one thing, because some of y'all are asking the same questions. Have we read this before? Did we know this the whole time? I have, probably for the last half a decade, said that we're just commemorating. I want you guys to you think we're rage baiting? We're not rage baiting you, all right? Just listen. Everybody take a deep breath and listen, and take away your hate for us for a second. Take away your evil eye and grudge, because you niggas think you're keeping the Passover, but you're about to do it all the while hating Genesis. So let's just listen closely, all right? We have been saying we're just commemorating it. We know we're not keeping that law because the law says we have to keep it in Jerusalem. But this is where we have gone wrong at, everybody. We are trying to make the Passover lamb ritualistic. We're hollowing it when we say, oh, we're just commemorating it. But you got to eat it fast. If you don't, you're in sin. And you got to burn it after. If you don't, you're in sin. And if you're in the uncircumcised brothers,
Yeah, that's the funniest part. These Israelites at their so-called Passovers eating with their staff, and they up there eating fast, thinking like, why y'all eating in haste? Why? Putting blood on their doorposts. Why are you putting blood on your doorposts? There's no destroyer coming. Just chill out. You can slow down and eat your sin.
They do, they're in sin. We have hollowed it. We have tried to masquerade and say, yeah, we're just commemorating it. We know we're not keeping the law, but then we'll put those ritualistic prohibitions on the lamb. You're hollowing it. So that is what we're saying. That's what we're rectifying right now. All right. So let's continue. Black man's questions. This presentation is really based off of a question that he asked. So I appreciate you for prompting me to do this lesson, brother. So let's keep going. So your lamb is from Walmart. You understand that? And even if it's not, it has to be slaughtered at the temple in Jerusalem by the high priest. Let's keep going. Deuteronomy 16:2. Deuteronomy 16:2 says, thou shalt therefore sacrifice the Passover unto the Lord thy God of the flock and the herd in the place which the Lord shall choose to place his name there. The Lord didn't place his name in Akron, Ohio. He didn't place his name in Crooklyn. He didn't place his name anywhere.
In West Philadelphia.
Do you understand? So that's where you sacrifice. Now, again, I've heard some camp leaders say, oh, well, this is talking about when you're in the land, you can't do it in Naphtali, or you can't do it in Bethlehem, or you can't do it in Asher. No, because as we're going to read, the law says, wherever the hell you are in that known world, you had to come back to the land to keep Tabernacles, Passover, and Pentecost.
It's a fact.
You understand that? Let's continue. Deuteronomy 16:5. You may not offer the Passover sacrifice within any of your towns that the Lord your God has given you, but at the place that the Lord your God will choose to make his name dwell in it, there you shall offer the Passover sacrifice in the evening at sunset, at the time you came out of Egypt, and you shall cook it and eat it at the place that the Lord your God will choose. And in the morning you shall turn and go to your tents. So every male, we're going to get there. Every male would have to go to Jerusalem. Every male would have to go to Jerusalem. You didn't have to bring your whole household. You would sacrifice it there with the high priest at the temple. You would eat some of it. You would bring it back to your houses outside of Jerusalem, wherever.
No, see, that's where he messing up at. See, when you get my breakdown, or when you get my understanding, you can try to parrot it. You correct yourself, all praises. But don't teach it so fast, because he just said you can take some and take it back. No, you can't. You just read it. It said you have to cook it and eat it in Jerusalem. Ain't no taking no plate back to your peoples.
Wherever you lived at. Understand. Some camp leaders, I already said this, try to argue that Deuteronomy 16 only applies when you're physically in the land. Like, yeah, when you're over in Ephraim, you got to go to Jerusalem. No, this is wherever you are in the known world. You had to go to Jerusalem. We're going to prove that. But that logic falls apart under its own weight. Why? The same law commands that all males appear before Yahweh 3 times a year in Jerusalem, which shows the expectation wasn't to ignore the command abroad, but to return to keep it properly. Bring your black ass back to the land. And it says, don't show up empty. So this is what it would have looked like. The thousands of Negroes lined up to get that lamb slaughtered. What a powerful image. Put a 1 in the chat if y'all are walking with me. Put a 1 in the chat if you're competent.
Listen, our chat is getting smarter. Thank God. We're doing the right thing. It was going to be one brother and one sister at a time.
All praises. No, me and Gadal didn't debate this. Me and Gadal talked about that. Even with Gadal, I said verbatim, I know we are not keeping it. That's what I said.
Also, I didn't. Somebody mentioned my name in chat. They always mention my name because I talked to them. I'm gonna bring that back. I talked to them about that, and they was telling me I was wrong. They was telling me I was wrong. Oh, let me go back. You see, they mentioned my name.
It's going to be one brother and one sister at a time.
All praises. No, me and Gadal didn't debate this. Me and Gadal talked about that. Even with Gadal, I said verbatim, I know we are not keeping it. That's what I said. The only wrongs I'm writing is that we said that, but we still hollow.
I want to see who
and put
the
prohibitions on the land we got from Walmart or the land we got from the barn or the farm. You can't do that.
how do I put the comment section back? I want to see
Yeah,
who
but
what they,
disagreement. My bad.
Go ahead.
how I put the comment section back up. I want to see what they who said that, what they say exactly. Oh, it's not replaying? Oh no.
The disagreement Gadal had, I think, is he said you just shouldn't eat lamb at all that day, but you can eat the bitter herbs and unleavened bread and all that. So,
And to
that's
be
the
honest with you, I'm just being real. Moving forward, if we are here for another Passover, our congregation, I truly believe we should stay away from the lamb, because you get to being that your conscience is seared, and you get to thinking that you get to putting hollows and restrictions and ritualistic energy on that lamb, and now you're in sin. So
I gotta
Why
clip
is it
that,
doing
man.
this?
Somebody
1 second.
clip this for me. I'm gonna clip it.
lamb at all that day, but you can eat the bitter herbs and unleavened bread and all that. So,
And to be honest with you, I'm just being real. Keeping it. That's what I said. The only wrongs I'm writing is that we said that, but we still hollow.
Somebody said
and put
Gadal.
prohibitions on the land we got from Walmart.
Oh, somebody said in the chat, Gadal debated Hakah on this before. Yeah, we definitely had a discussion. It wasn't a formal debate, but we definitely had the discussion, and he was disagreeing with me. So, I'm glad to see, glad to see he corrected itself. But let's get back to it. But I'm definitely clipping that.
Or the land we got from the barn or the farm. You can't do that.
yeah, the disagreement. My bad.
Go ahead.
The disagreement Gadal had, I think, is he said you just shouldn't eat lamb at all that day, but you can eat the bitter herbs and unleavened bread and all that. So,
And to be honest with you, I'm just being real. Moving forward, if we are here for another Passover, our congregation, I truly believe we should stay away from the lamb,
All
because
praises.
you get to being your conscience is seared, and you get
My
to thinking
bad.
that you get to putting hollows and restrictions and ritualistic energy on that lamb, and now you're in sin. So why is it doing this? 1 second. Okay. If you could keep it outside
So,
of the land,
I want
there
to say,
wouldn't be
look,
a commandment to come.
all praise to the Most High, man. Correction. They correcting themselves. Staying away from that lamb. He's correcting his camp. Stay away from lamb. Not profane the Passover. That's what's important. All praise to the Most High, man. Hit the like button, put a 1 in the chat, and give all praise to the Most High. If you're giving all praise to the Most High, put a 1 in the chat for correction. All praise to the Most High.
Come to the land to keep it if you live abroad. Should I say that slowly, Hasad, for the incompetent? If you could keep it outside of the land, there wouldn't be a commandment to come to the land to keep it if you live abroad.
Yeah, let me just ask the chat. I want to see, why does God command us to go to Jerusalem for Passover? Why? That's the question. I want you guys, if you don't answer it in the chat, that's fine, but just answer it on your own time. Why does God command the children of Israel to observe Passover in Jerusalem? The answer is pretty simple. It's because that's where God wants us to observe Passover. Period. If like it just says in the slide.
And that's a simple answer, because God wants us to keep Passover in Jerusalem. Yes. But the full answer is because the ark of the Lord is in Jerusalem, inside the tabernacle, and God dwells, or the glory of the Most High dwells in the ark, in the tabernacle, above the mercy seat, between the cherubim. So this is why you have to present yourself to Jerusalem, because the ark is there, because the glory of the Lord is there. That's why. And even when the ark isn't there, you still have to present yourself there. Why? Because the glory fills the house of the Most High. That's the throne. So that's the full answer. The answer is also because the Most High told you. It should be that simple. The Most High told you to, that's why you go. But the full answer is why? Because the ark, which is the name of the Lord, right? I did a video on that for the people that don't know what the name of the Lord is. The ark is the name of the Lord. The house was built for the name of the Lord, and that was placed in Jerusalem. And we have to go there to present ourselves before the Most High. So that's the full answer to answer his question.
if we could go anywhere else, if we could go to Czechoslovakia and celebrate it, then God would say, wherever you are, do this. But he says, no, come to Jerusalem for these specific things.
Look at how incompetent one West Black Hebrew Israelites are. We're trying to tell people to keep the laws of God by not breaking them, and he's telling us to go have an Easter egg hunt. Just block him from the channel.
God bless your heart, and we pray that you are delivered from
Die the death, I complain.
Okay. All right.
I'm joking. Pray for that, brother, though, man. One West Blacks are so incompetent.
All right, even that.
Okay, so listen. All right, let's go. If you could keep it outside of the land, there wouldn't be a commandment to come to the land to keep it if you live abroad. Deuteronomy 16:16. 3 times a year, all your males shall appear before the Lord your God at the place that he will choose. At the Feast of Unleavened Bread. Uh-oh, now we're introducing something else. Yes, priest. So priest, are you saying we're not keeping the law when we do tabernacles? He said, it's not gonna have to mute priest. Look, this is what the law says, y'all. This is not me. Get mad at God. I mean, and I really don't want you to do that, but yes, Feast of Unleavened Bread, the Feast of Weeks, which is Pentecost, and the Feast of Booths. They shall not appear before the Lord empty-handed.
Yeah, and that doesn't mean, again, to reiterate this listen, I want to just say this for like the 5th time, just to get it on the record again. We are still going to commemorate these things. So anyone saying, man, these guys are saying not to keep Passover, these guys are saying not to keep tabernacle, all that, you're a liar. We're still going to commemorate these things. But if you're going to be honest with yourselves, let's keep it funky, bro. With tabernacles, am I still going to commemorate it? Absolutely. It's my favorite festival in Leviticus 23. It tells us we're supposed to get the trees, the specific trees, and that's how we're supposed to make our tent. It doesn't say go to Walmart and make a tent. Now, does that mean that we're wrong for doing it? No, because we're trying our best and we're commemorating this. That's literally all we're saying.
But it's not keeping it. But it's not keeping. That's what I've been saying. We can go buy tents. Again, I love to get the tent, make it, show the children the experience, use it as a teaching lesson, read Torah. I love that. Unleavened bread, Passover come, read Torah, teach my children. I love it. And we're supposed to do. But is that keeping it? No. No. No, people, it's not. And this is, I always said, right? Y'all know where I'm about to go with this. People go so hard for these things that cannot be kept today. Passover, booths, Feast of Weeks. Go so hard for this, for the things that cannot be kept. But they do not do the things that are required of us. Our prayer is a requirement. Praying is a requirement. Remember, I did the whole lesson. Our prayer replaces this animal sacrifices. Daniel prayed 3 times a day in exile. Why? Leviticus 26. I talk to these brothers. They do all these unlawful fake Passovers, but you ask them, yo, you doing Leviticus 26? Your prayer? The calves of your lips? Turning toward Jerusalem? Allowing your prayer to replace the daily burnt offerings? Are you doing that? No. Why? Because they're not studying the Torah. Daniel wasn't praying 3 times a day for no reason. He wasn't fasting during Passover and unleavened bread for no reason. That wasn't called the law of his God for no reason. But people don't know what applies to them. But when I say exile mode, when I say exile mode, people act like they don't know what's going on.
Anyone saying, oh, you guys are going to go on an Easter bunny hunt, you guys sound like Christians. Just listen to the information and then ask yourself, do you have the answers to these things that we're addressing? And if you don't, then like Priest said, get mad at God.
Yeah, it's very simple. Like if you're doing it outside of the land, you're not keeping that law. And if you're saying that Passover lamb that you're eating coming up is the Passover lamb and putting ritualistic prohibitions on it, then you're in sin. That's simple. That's what the Torah says. If you really want to try your best, then you would go to Jerusalem and just have bitter herbs, unleavened bread, and wine. If you really wanted to try your best, then you would go to Jerusalem and pitch booths. If you really wanted to try your best, then you would go to Jerusalem to do Pentecost. And now this is all absent of sacrifice. If you want to talk about rehearsing the righteous acts, then we're supposed to be in Jerusalem keeping these 3 feasts. That's just what the Torah says.
That's a fact.
You understand that? So this would have been, the pilgrimages to the land for the Passover around unleavened bread.
They got the AI working.
For the year, right? So this is proof you can't keep Pentecost outside of the land either. which is why we all went back to the land to keep it in Acts 2 and 5. Now there were dwelling in Jerusalem Jews, devout men from every nation under heaven. Why the hell didn't they keep it in their own land?
I was just saying, they sound like, I was just saying this. Even in the Christian Testament, they all went to Jerusalem. Like your own book that you follow is telling you, yo, they coming to Jerusalem for this stuff. But you telling us you're in America doing it.
Oh, I know why. Because they understood Deuteronomy 16 and 16. Bring your black ass back to the land 3 times a year. This is proof. Let's keep going. Proof tabernacles is not to be kept outside of the land as far as like you feeling like you, and I want to exegete this and word this properly. Like Assad said, you can commemorate it, but you're not fulfilling it. You can memorialize it, but you're not fulfilling it.
I like to say, again, they're using commemorate. No, I like to say honor the season. That's how I say. Right? They saying the same thing though. Honor the season. The season get here, you can acknowledge, honor the season. That's why when the season of Passover and unleavened bread get here, I fast. I do what Daniel did. I'm honoring the season, praying that the Most High, restores us, brings us out of exile. That's what I do. So it's not like the season comes, you just ignore it, you don't do anything. No. You acknowledge the season, honor the season, but you cannot break the law by trying to keep it when it tells you can only keep it in the land.
Zechariah 14 and 16. Then everyone who survives of all the nations that have come against Jerusalem shall go up year after year to worship the King, the Lord of hosts, and to keep the Feast of Booths. Why can't these nations keep it in their own land? Oh, why can't these nations keep it when they're scattered abroad? Oh,
yeah, please someone answer that. Yeah, please, I'm begging you guys. For anyone who's going to make a response video or a video, please answer these very basic questions. Why does God command us to go to Jerusalem to keep Passover? And why does God, Passover and tabernacles, and in the kingdom, when there is a third temple, why is God still commanding us and the nations to come to Jerusalem to keep tabernacles? Why is that? Why is that if we can just keep it in Perth, Australia, or on Mars?
It's a fact.
Damn North Pole. Please answer those very basic questions. Those are very fair questions, I think, chat. Anything, I know we've kind of said a couple things people could interpret as rude or hostile, but in all seriousness, these are at the end of the day very fair questions based on what the Bible says. So if you disagree, it's your job to answer these very fair questions. That's all we're asking. Okay.
For the most part, though, there's a lot of smart people in here, so all praise to the Most High. All right, so let's continue. So if they don't come to keep the Feast of Tabernacles, they won't get any rain, their land will have a famine. So guess what that means, everybody? They don't want their people to die out, so they will be keeping it. You understand? Look at this. Might I add, tabernacles is going to be for all nations.
Yo, this is crazy.
Who's mad that all nations are in this imagery? Well, the Bible says all nations will keep tabernacles.
But yeah, as the people, the Torah at the dark people, yeah, I know my nighttime prayer alarm always going off. Yeah, I see my nighttime prayer alarm going off. It's always going off. That's just an inside joke for the Torah at the dark people. But this is crazy, man. There used to be an Israelite camp that taught no other nation will get salvation, man. They got all nations in here in their depiction of the kingdom.
I know some of you guys are like, what? I don't want all nations to keep tabernacles. Well, you got to get mad at God. All right? That's my castle up there up top. I call that one. Even more. The provision for a second, this is such a dagger. The provision for a second or make-up Passover specifically addresses those who are unclean or on a journey afar off. Why can't this guy who's on a journey afar off keep Passover wherever he's going?
As a fact.
Off, proving that distance didn't cancel the command, it only delayed proper observance. So you can't say the law stops applying outside of the land, while the same law builds in accommodations for those outside of the land to still come back to keep it correctly. We got to ask ourselves this. Numbers chapter 9, 11 and 12, in the second month of the 14th day at twilight, they shall keep it. They shall eat it with unleavened bread and bitter herbs. They shall leave none of it until the morning, nor break it, nor it's a statute. So Numbers 9 goes into the second Passover.
I want to say this right. This is a clean breakdown, man. It's a clean breakdown. If y'all watched my video on this last year before, hear me talk about it, y'all already know this. But for the people that don't know this, the people that it's clean breakdown. Clean breakdown.
Make up Passover if you're on the journey afar off. Now let's get into some opposing arguments. There's a couple opposing arguments. There is a couple opposing arguments, and we're gonna put a link in the chat as well. I'm gonna put a link in the chat so we can really hacksaw Jim Duggins. I'm trying to hacksaw Jim Duggins. Who watched that J. Cole and Cameron interview? That J. Cole and Cameron interview was cool. Let's see, click link, join panel. So we're almost done with the presentation. We want to get some smoke on here though too at the same time. So now. Okay, so let's keep going. So some opposing arguments. Let's deal with some opposing arguments. Again, there is a link in the chat. Matter of fact, let me pin that up to the top. And if you don't want to join the panel, you also can just put your questions in the chat. All right. So some opposing arguments. I've heard camp leaders use this verse to break the law and say you are fulfilling the law keeping Passover outside of the land. Hasad, can I say which camp it is? I'll just say,
are they even worth naming?
The Crip Max of the community.
Oh.
I literally heard, let's just say it. This is no, you know what, let's not say it. So a camp used this to say you could keep the Passover outside of the land, Hasad. Is Ezra 6:19. And the children of the captivity kept the Passover on the 14th month, on the 14th day.
That's
of the
a
first
bad
month.
verse.
See, you can keep it in captivity, bro. They literally
They're in the lands.
Yeah.
You can. There's no way. Hold on.
Yo,
This verse.
whoever brung that verse to say, "Oh, we could keep Passover in captivity," that's hilarious.
Saying, here's a verse that proves you can keep it out of the lands. Look at the Israelites in the lands keeping Passover.
No, but what it is when they seen captivity, they thought that they were in captivity, like outside the land in exile. That's what they're saying. See, they're in captivity. Yes. Aren't you glad that you're repentant?
I would say this to Deacon Hasad if I talk to them about this again. Using the word captivity instead of exile is important. Why? Because Passover, before I say it, because I don't want to say that and it's going to sound confusing. Exile and captivity. You can be in exile and also in captivity. But you can be in captivity without being in exile. For example, during the first temple, during the time of I'm getting a brain fart. First century, the first century time period when the Romans were in control. They were in captivity. They were being ruled over by the Romans, but they weren't in exile. They were being oppressed. They had a rod over them. The Romans was making all these calls and doing what they were doing, but they weren't in exile. They was in captivity. They can keep Passover then because they're in the land. Even though they're in captivity, they can keep Passover. During the time of Babylon, before they got exiled, when Babylon was oppressing them, being ruled over, they was being oppressed, but they can still keep Passover. During the time of the Greeks, before the Greeks destroyed the temple and all that stuff, they were being oppressed and stuff. They had the ability to keep Passover, but the Greeks were stopping them from doing it. But they could have did it even though they was in captivity because they were still in the land and they had the temple. Right? So they like to play the argument like, oh, we can keep Passover in captivity. They were in captivity in 78 in first century AD, but they still kept Passover. So you have to specify exile. We're in exile today. We're in exile today, but we're not in captivity. I know camps like to say captivity. We're not in captivity. Captivity is slavery, hard bondage slavery we're not in captivity today. We're in exile, but we're not in captivity. We're in the land of our captivity where our ancestors were in captivity, but we're not in captivity anymore. We're in exile still. So you have to make sure you make that distinction between exile and captivity, because they will ask you a question. Can you keep Passover in exile? And you say no, then they're going to say, aren't they in captivity? Aren't they in captivity in the first century? Yes. Were they keeping Passover? Yes. They're going to say, boom, that's a cut. Because you have to make the distinction between exile and captivity.
Yeah.
Aren't you glad you're out of that? So it's so laughable because they are in the land at this point. The temple was completed. This is the children of those who were in captivity, and they are back in the land. Verse 15, all you got to do is go 4 verses earlier. The temple was completed on the 3rd day of the month Adar, in the 6th year of the reign of the King Darius. You know what? I'm not going to put that on IUIC. I'm just going to tell you guys, it's ISUPK. So
He said ISUPK. The word that whatever English Bible translate captivity is golah, which generally refers to exile. Yeah, because you can be in exile and in captivity, so they go hand in hand. But exile and captivity is not necessarily the same thing.
if you see somebody go here, please just read verse 4. It's not saying they're in captivity and exile, keeping the commandments. You just got, it's literally saying these are the children of those who were in captivity and the temple's completed. That means they're in the land, temple's completed, and they're keeping the Passover. All right. Go ahead. NC Durham. Is Deuteronomy 16 before or after the wilderness? Is Deuteronomy 16 prescribing rather? Deuteronomy 16 says, when you come into the land, this is what you have to do. So to break that law because of what we did in the wilderness shows that you don't know the chronology and you just don't know prescription, brother. All right, so let's keep going to a few more opposing arguments. But didn't Christ say to do this in remembrance of me? So that means when we're outside the land, when we're in Timbuktu,
This what
we can
Ahrayahla just said.
slaughter and sacrifice it and make it our Passover lamb. And this is where Old Testament only brothers absolutely destroy New Testament brothers, Messianic Israelites. This is where you die. If you say that because of Luke 16, yes, he did say do it in remembrance of him. He did, but that didn't mean break God's laws or while the temple was not standing and you're not in Jerusalem. Christ would never prescribe you to break his father's commandments. That's what you would be positing. So yes, he did say that, but he would never tell you to break the laws. Look at Luke 16 and 17 in the ESV. But it is easier for heaven and earth to pass away than for one dot of the law to become void. And the law says you have to keep the Passover lamb and Pentecost and tabernacles in Jerusalem amongst the temple. So that meant when he said that, while you were in the land and the temple is standing, or you got to say he's prescribing you that you can break the laws and commandments. Now, there are a lot of Hebrew Israelite Christians. There are a lot of Hebrew Israelite Christians who would say, yes, Christ came to change that law. And now what happened with one jot or one tittle? Now you are now in Christianity. You understand?
All y'all in
IOG
Christianity,
churches.
really.
Okay, Edward, if you want to promote
Some of y'all just law-keeping Christianity people.
IOG, then do it on your own time. You don't need to build on another man's foundation. You could go look at a debate I did with somebody with IOG. It was a complete bloodbath. So all praise to the Most High. All right, let's keep going. So some people say, but didn't Paul tell the Corinthians to keep Passover and to eat the lamb? You would be asserting, inferring, and imposing that into what Paul is saying. Because they would be in Corinth, Greece, outside of the land. What Paul actually
I don't
said,
really care about
1
this New
Corinthians 5,
Testament
even
stuff.
Christ, our Passover, is sacrificed for us. Paul identifies Christ as the Passover, not an actual lamb being eaten. And then he tells you to keep the feast. Let us therefore keep the feast, not with old leaven, but with unleavened bread of sincerity and truth. Key points. He doesn't mention the killing of a lamb. No instructions even to eat lamb. He immediately explains the feast symbolically. Leaven is sin. Unleavened is sincerity and truth. All right? He symbolizes it. He makes it an allegory. What's missing and what matters? If Paul was commanding literal Passover lamb keeping, he would mention a lamb, slaughtering it, Jerusalem, priest, altar. None of that is there. Paul elsewhere confirms the shift in 1 Corinthians 11, 23 to 26. The focus is on bread and wine done in remembrance. No lamb. Why? Because Paul knows the law. Here goes an interesting one, but Tobit kept Pentecost outside of the land.
No, he didn't.
I thought, so, and just listen to.
This came up in my debate versus Shawpar of HOI. When we had a debate if sacrifice, what was our debate? I think we debated if Passover can be kept outside of the land. I think that was our debate, if I remember right, or whether sacrifice can be given up. One of them, right? But it was a good debate. It's on my page. But this is what he pulled out, and I went to the book of Tobit and destroyed him on it because he didn't keep it. All he did was have a dinner, and then in the book of Tobit lets you know that the Israelites were required to go to Jerusalem for the feast. So in the same book he to the pull, I went to that same book to show him. Tobit tells you that you go to Jerusalem for the feast, but he didn't keep it. He had a dinner. Having the dinner is not keeping it, right? So let's say the last day of Passover comes. Last day of unleavened bread comes. And I say, babe, cook a dinner. Let's cook a dinner. Let's have a feast. Everybody's gonna eat. We're gonna close out unleavened bread. We're having the family dinner. That's not keeping unleavened bread.
Listen to this argument. If the law says don't do it outside of the land, and then you go find somebody doing it outside of the land, you would rather say, I'm going to break the law like this other person. If what you're saying is true, I'm going to break the law like this other person. No, that's not proper hermeneutics. That's not proper exegetical methodology. You don't say, let me find somebody breaking that law so I can show everybody that we can break that law. That's not how you approach the text.
They really be doing that too, though.
But Tobit kept Pentecost outside of the land, so we can too. No, he didn't. To say that is to say he was breaking the laws of God. Now let's take a look at what actually happened with Tobit. What really happened? Look at this powerful black Nephthalite. My bad, I should have made him Latino. It's like we got a lot of black only Israelites on this TGC Ministries channel. We'll smack you guys up too. With the Bible, out of love as well. Indigenous people are Israelites. By and large, not everyone and not every black person is an Israelite either. All right, so let's keep going. What does Tobit actually say? Tobit 2-1 in the KJV. It reads, now when I was come home again, and my wife Anna was restored unto me, watch the dagger. Yeah, this is still the opposing argument section. And my wife Anna was restored unto me with my son Tobias in the feast of Pentecost, which is the holy feast of the 7 weeks, There was a good dinner prepared me, in the which I sat down to eat. Now, yeah, download the PDF, y'all. It's in the description box. Go cut all these camps up with that. No, I'm joking. But understand and edify your family, yourself and your family. I'm just joking, y'all. Take a joke. So brothers have gone here to say, look, the Torah, we're putting Tobit over the Torah. That's what brothers have said. But nowhere does it say that this meal that he was eating was commemorating Feast of Pentecost. I want to say that again. Nowhere in this text does it say this meal that he was prepared for him was in commemoration of Pentecost. It just doesn't say that. That would be you, again, imposing, inferring, asserting into the text, extrapolating and interpolating, all that good stuff that people do who have a narcissistic hermeneutic. All the text is saying is they had a feast, and it was during the time of Pentecost. Tobit already clarified, watch the dagger, that you are to go to Jerusalem for certain feasts.
That's a
Look
fact.
at what he says in Tobit 1 and 6. But I alone went often to Jerusalem at the feast, as it was ordained unto all the people of Israel by an everlasting decree.
That boy watched my debate.
Intents of increase with that which was first shorn, and them I gave an altar to the priests, to the children of Aaron. He can't be contradicting himself. And one, he says, well, yeah, the feast, there are commandments that say the feasts have to be kept in Jerusalem. So all he's saying is that this was during the time of Pentecost. They had a big meal. Nothing in Leviticus 23 says when Pentecost comes, you have to have a meal. It doesn't say that. So you can't say, yeah, this meal, they're keeping the Pentecost. No, with Pentecost, you got to give your fruit. You got to give a sacrifice. You got to eat a certain thing. You got to do something. You got to do something with your harvest. That's how you keep Pentecost.
Facts.
You understand? Somebody block Edward. So now he's saying, block him, please. We can't even talk about the laws of God without somebody
Pentecost
coming
is
with
the
hatred in
Feast
their
of
heart and
Weeks.
saying, oh, you guys blaspheme the Holy Spirit and rejecting the Holy Spirit. And like, don't IOG teach you to eat pork? That's just what I heard. I don't know. I could be wrong. I'm not going to make an emphatic statement, but get them gone. Anyway, so a brother made a post here. And a brother commented, this is going to be on my next slide. He says, what about the Egyptian papyri where Israelites were keeping Passover outside of the land? So let's deal with that. And again, we don't take the approach, and I know you're not, brother, you're just asking the question. We don't want to take the approach to say, let's find Israelites breaking Torah by doing this to prove that we can break Torah. That's not the position we want to take. We want to say, okay, let's take a look at what we did outside the land. All right, so let's go to the next slide. Does the Elephantine papyri, I spelled that wrong, it's okay, say Israelites at the Passover land ate the my bad, y'all. Say Israelites ate the Passover lamb outside of the land. This is what the Elephantine papyri says. It's from about 400 BC, I believe. It's about 400 BC.
You know what's crazy about that, right? Because this same papyri tells you this same community had women priests, women high priests. Kind of interesting. So if you're gonna use, people gonna use this papyri to say, look, they did it, so we could do it. Women can't be priests, but they did it. So you gotta be careful what you gotta use as a source. Somebody try to use this with me, and I destroy them.
And it's a letter being written. They don't know where this letter was being written from. Scholars assert that it could be Persia, it could be Syria, or it could be written from Jerusalem to the Israelites in Egypt. But this is what it says. It says, to my brethren, Yedaniah, and his colleagues, the Jewish garrison, your brother Hananiah. Thus says King Darius. That's why they say it's more than likely Persia. What do I mean by Persia? I'm sorry, why does it matter that it's from Persia? Because it's not from Jerusalem. They would have told you, hell nah. But then again, there's no lamb mentioned here. So therefore, they're not prescribing that you break Torah. That's why it says, now you shall count 14 days of the month of Nisan and keep the Passover. And also this proves that Passover is on the 14th day. Our dear beloved brothers who keep the Friday to Saturday Sabbath, peace be upon them. They say that Passover is on the 15th. But anyway, many ancient sources says it's on the 14th, including the Bible, Torah to be specific. So this says, now you shall count 14 days of the month of Nisan and keep the Passover. And from the 15th day to the 21st day of Nisan, keep the feast of unleavened bread. Look what it says. Be ritually clean and take heed. Do no work on the 15th day and on the 21st day of Nisan. Ooh, shows you a double Sabbath if you keep the lunar Sabbath. Drink no leaven drink. Eat no leavened bread, and let none be seen in your houses from the 14th day at sunset until the 21st day of Nisan at sunset. Notice, these are extra restrictions. This is not even in Torah. And bring nothing into your houses, excuse me, and seal it up during these days. It mentions nothing about Passover lamb.
And the way this is described, this wouldn't be a sin to do, right? What they're describing here. But this is not keeping Passover. Right? So that's what I want to be clear. The part that makes it a sin is the Passover sacrifice. You can do all this stuff, but that's not keeping Passover. So you can't say you're keeping it. Only way you can keep Passover is slaughter the Passover lamb and eat it. Only way you can keep unleavened bread is if on every day of unleavened bread, those sacrifices are given that are required on unleavened bread. But just being ritual, y'all know, anybody that knows me know I'm big on being ritually clean. Big on that in exile. Have to stay in the state of ritually cleanness. Big on that. Ritual purification. Big on that. Right? Eating unleavened bread, it's not sin. Taking leaven out your home, it's not sin. But the time you offer a lamb, it's a sin. Slaughter a lamb, you eat a lamb, it's a sin. Because now you're actually attempting to keep Passover. So you can do all this, but that is not keeping it, just to be clear.
Furthermore, exilic customs do not override Torah. A brother riding from Persia to Egypt does not override what the Jews of Jewry are doing in practicing Torah. That's the authority. That's the big brother. That's the central headquarters of Judaism, is Jerusalem. You understand that? So it doesn't mention them eating the lamb. It adds some extra Torah restrictions.
That's what I'm saying about Pesach Memorial. It's a dinner, and the ordinances are caused to be remembered. We don't think we are eating the Pesach lamb. My intention is to illustrate what I understand that, and that's amazing. That's amazing. But just stay away from the lamb. That's all I'm saying. Stay away from the lamb. There's nothing wrong with that. Hey, let's take out unleavened bread Passover come. Let's take out all the leaven out of our home. Let's make some leavened bread. Have some fun with the leavened bread. You know, this is as a teaching lesson. Like you said, illustrate intentions. Illustrate what took place. Beautiful thing. But the time you take that lamb, it becomes a sin. That's just what it is. The lamb is only supposed to be sacrificed, slaughtered, eaten, cooked in Jerusalem. That's the Passover.
Extra restrictions above Torah, and it's exilic. So that's how we break down the elephantine papyri, right? Now, with that being said, all praises to the Most High. And if you have not, make sure you guys download the PDF presentation, pray on it, look over it.
That's the end of his presentation, man. All praise to the Most High. All praise to the Most High. I want to say, look, I told you this was gonna be a long live, 3 hours. I haven't been live in a while. That's one, and I haven't been live this long in a while. Right, but all praise to the Most High, man. We saw tonight, Israelites are still doing unlawful and sinful Passovers, slaughtering lambs. Talking about that is a Passover lamb. That is a sin. That is a sin. That is a sin. You are breaking Torah. I want you to read Deuteronomy 16. I want you to read, Deuteronomy 12. Read those. Deuteronomy 12 is going to tell you can only do sacrifices in the land. You can only sacrifice the holy things in the land. It's going to tell you that you can't do it anywhere else. Deuteronomy 16 is going to be more specific about Passover, and also the other three that can only be kept in the land: Passover, unleavened bread, Feast of Weeks, Sukkot, which is tabernacles. Right? And it's crazy. We got two good reaction videos. Ahrayahla trying to make excuses, which was horrible, which is weak. He continues to be in sin. And then we got Hasad and Deacon, who corrected themselves, left that alone, left that practice alone, corrected themselves, not profaning the Sabbath. not profaning the Passover anymore. So all praise to the Most High, man. All praise to the Most High. All praise to the Most High. I'm gonna put these, if y'all want to see, for the people that have not seen these videos, I'm gonna put my videos or my full lessons on it. I'm gonna put it in the chat. I'm gonna put them in the chat. I'm gonna put 2 videos in the chat for the people that have not seen these videos so y'all can check it out. All right. Where is it at? I'm not going to do, I'm going to just put it in the chat for the people that may want to check it out, my Passover videos. Because I went through it a little bit tonight, but I didn't go deep into it tonight because I already have a video on it. So here's the Passover outside the land is a sin. All right. This is one. That's one video. Passover outside the land is a sin. That's one video. All right. And the Ark of the Covenant. Here's the Ark of the Covenant right here. That's the Ark of the Covenant video. So you know why they was able to keep Passover in the wilderness in Gilgal. That's the Ark of the Covenant video. All right. In case you haven't watched that, and then y'all could just scroll through. I also did a video. Matter of fact, I put this one in here as well. Fasting during Passover and unleavened bread. I go and break down the whole understanding of why Daniel fasted, why he prayed during 3 times a day, why I believe we all should be fasting during Passover and unleavened bread. So I went through all that in those 3 videos. Take a look at those, watch those, and if it helps, all praise to the Most High. But we got to see some good content today. Hasad and Deacon correcting themselves on Passover, all praise to the Most High. Ahrayahla didn't correct himself, still in sin, still going to teach sin. Ridiculous. And we saw a camp slaughtering brutally a lamb in sin, which is crazy. All right, but I'm getting out of here now, man. All praise to the Most High. All praise to the Most High. Had to step away to say the bedtime Shema. All praise to the Most High. All praise to the Most High. My nighttime prayer alarm went off already, so I'm about to get off here and do my nighttime prayer. We are not in captivity. We are in exile. That is a fact. That is a fact. Yes, we do not slaughter any animals. We don't offer any animals. We don't put blood on our doors. All praise to the Most High. 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 All right. Well, shalom, shalom. Lala Tob. I'll catch you guys next time. I'll keep y'all updated about when we're gonna be bringing back Torah After Dark. If you're not a part of the Discord, hit the link in the bio. Join the Discord. A lot of good people in there having good conversations. I'm not able to be in there all the time, but I still get a lot of notifications, so it's still people in there having those discussions, right? And again, if you don't, I gotta drink some water. I run out of water. And if you didn't purchase my book, make sure y'all purchase my book. It's on Amazon. Gadol HaGadol, The Image Still Stands, right? Is a book about my understanding of Daniel chapter 2, the statue, and how that statue still stands today, and how it is playing out today. Right? My next book is gonna be dropping in a couple months. It's gonna be on the beast of Daniel 7. The beast still roars. That's the name of it, right? But shalom, shalom, shalom. Shalom. Let me do something real fast. I'll catch you guys next time. Good to see y'all. I missed y'all, man. Shalom, shalom, shalom. Going to check them out. This is my first time here, and I will be back. All praise to the Most High. Good to have you here. Good to have you here. Shalom, shalom. Brother Tov, catch you guys next time. Hold on, I'm gonna put I'm gonna set the outro video, the Torah After Dark outro video. It's been a while, so let me set that there. All right, shalom, Brother Tov. Welcome to Torah After Dark, where scriptures meet the real world, raw and unfiltered. This isn't your typical Bible study. We're diving deep into the Torah, the prophets, and today's world, from prophecy and exile to politics, culture, and controversy. I'm Gadol HaGadol, a Black American student of the Torah, bringing straight truth with no filters, no fluff, and no fear. We stream regularly because Torah doesn't clock out. Whether it's the law of exile, prophecy breakdowns, or what's really going on in the news, we're bringing it back to the Torah. Got any questions, topics, or want to debate live? Hit the inbox or email gadolhagadol@gmail.com. Also, subscribe to the channel, like the live, and join the membership for exclusive breakdowns, biblical challenges to Christian claims, and teachings you won't hear anywhere else. This is Torah After Dark, with the people still seeking truth, even when the world turns their lights off. Let's get into it. Hear, O Israel, the Lord is our God, the Lord is one. And you should love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your soul, with all your strength. Hallelujah.
Take my hand.
Take my hand.
Lead me to you.
Lead me to you.
Love.
Lead me to you. Love. All praise due to the God of Abraham, Isaac and Jacob. Isaac and Jacob. God of Abraham.
God of Abraham.
Isaac and Jacob.
Isaac, Jacob.
I'm an Israelite. I'm an Israelite. 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 Shema Yisrael. Adonai Eloheinu. Adonai Hakah. Wa'ahata. It's Adonai Eloheka. Bikol Labaka. O Bikol Naseka. O Bikol Miodiga. Hallelujah.